Hello everyone, I am Tacet and welcome to the Gems of War stream. Of course today, or I should say yesterday, we ended up getting a new mythic. That new mythic is still very viable and still is in the drop table. It is available, it doesn't have a timer here for whatever reason, no clue why they still haven't added one. But it's available for about another 6 days or so until Friday resets. So, yeah, you still got like 5 days and 16-ish hours or so to still get it in Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest if you're still looking for it. So you'll probably be able to pick it up possibly on Monday if you haven't already off the Guild War keys. Also, next week might potentially be the last week that we have the current task system for Gems of War. We are possibly getting an update next week, soon TM, question mark. So it could be next week, could be the following week, but whatever week it is occurring, the actual guild change doesn't technically happen until the week after. So you'll still be able to do legendary tasks next week, even if they end up doing the update. Yeah, there's a good chance it's next week, either next week or the following week. No official date though. And they're doing the preview stream this Monday. I checked their social media. They currently don't have any additional spoilers there. The only other thing we really got was, of course, the list from earlier that I ended up making mention of, the task list. Though I think they're still going to modify it one more time before they end up releasing it, because the current state at which they just reworked them to is almost worse than what they were before. So I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with that, but hopefully they'll end up tweaking it again, but we'll just kind of have to see once it gets there. Also, one other somewhat noteworthy thing is they did end up doing one of the pets again. One of the old pets. This is the last year anniversary, the 4-year anniversary of Gems of War, the 2018 anniversary pet for the game. Anniversary of the game was about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but this was the one from last year's. Of course, this year's we ended up getting the cupcake thing with the 5 on it. But this was last year's one, so if you haven't picked it up, definitely make sure to do so, as you probably will never be able to get it again, or at least for a very, 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 very excessively long time, even if they do end up doing it again. It's not really a required pet, but, you know, just for the sake of having it as another pet. I forget what kingdom it's even to, but, let me see. What kingdom is it associated to? Is it even relevant? Probably not, but you never know. Where'd it go? There's the one from this year. With the 5 on it, obviously. And the one from 4 years ago, or from the 4-year mark, I mean, is this one. Oh, it's Blackhawk. I'm not sure if that's actually even relevant at all. Is it? How many pets does this place have? No, it's not really that relevant. This place has 5 pets, gosh. That's a lot of pets. Though, 2 of them, I believe, are old things. This was talking like a Pirate Day, and this is a other old event one, both from 2018. So, yeah, those are the only actual 3, technically. The one from, oh, never mind, there's 4 of them. Gosh, they keep putting all the Talk Like a Pirate Day into Blackhawk. There's actually only 2 real pets in this kingdom. I never realized that. The shark. Oh, wait, no, this is, what? Never mind. How many event pets are there? Gosh, this is Shark Week, too. I thought this was like a Merfolk bonus or something. Never mind. There's only 1 real pet in Blackhawk? Okay, maybe you do want to go pick this up. Gosh, I did not realize that. There's 5 pets in Blackhawk, but only 1 is real, and it's the Mimic. That is very strange. I never noticed that. But yeah, all 4 of the other ones are old event ones. That is very weird. But anyways, let's go and mess around with the new Mythic. Of course, we did end up getting a new Mythic yesterday. Unlike some Mythics that come into the game, this one's actually viable. Not the greatest Mythic in the game, but it's very situationally good in pure color teams, particularly same color, pure color, which is basically a whole new team build type that this Mythic ended up adding to the game. Theoretically, it could have been used prior, but it wasn't really viable until now. Yeah, okay, I'll take that for now. And obviously, it's mostly a Guild War option, though obviously we've just been doing it in PvP because there's no Guild War going on. We are in a weird situation. The fact that Doom is in first slot is pretty bad. That is not where we want him, especially with how much mana he just blocks there. But hopefully we can get this Mythic going and go from there. Also, it appears to work pretty good for Tower of Doom. We were messing with this Mythic in Tower of Doom last night, and it was decent. It's actually pretty decent. So it definitely could get away with using this in Tower of Doom. Similar teams to this. Any of the pure color competitions. We're also going to have more options to use with this very soon. Between next patch bringing in more, as well as purple becoming more viable in about January 3rd. Between those 2 factors, it's going to be decent. And I do advise picking up this mythic. It's definitely not like one of the absolute most needed mythics in the game, but as far as anything that you could craft on a week exclusive, it's probably one of the stronger ones that have currently existed in recent times. Mostly because of how insanely useful it will be for Guild War days. It can, and might potentially be hard countered by some days though. It does have quite a few weaknesses, which is a bit of a liability in Guild Wars. But assuming it's not being countered, you should be fine. And even if you are getting countered, yellow has a lot of anti-counters that it can use. If they have Submerge, you could just change hero class. If they have Freeze or Entangle or anything similar, you can just end up putting Voice of Orpheus on your team, or even that very cheap one, the green-yellow bounty troop of Sister Superior, if you didn't have another option. But there's quite a few things that you can do to anti-counter counters. What do we go for here? Also, it is towards the slower side. That hasn't really changed. It's the other real big downside. Mostly slow start is the biggest thing it has. Once it gets going, it's not too bad. Like, once it gets going, it's like auto-win. But the slow start is a bit of a liability, too. It does have an above-average slow start. Did he really just get us there? Almost. I didn't even realize it, but he's using Yagoi Queen of Tanya. I didn't even notice that was his team until just now. Which is a problem, because we're already dead. We just lost. Good job, team. Rip. Yeah, anything that has a quicker speed like that can be a bit of an issue. What on earth is that team? 2 Champion of Anus, a Dawnbringer, and Vespera. What a weird team. Okay, let's get looping. I'll do it on purple so we have some convert if we need. Even if it misses. Which it did. So we'll go for that. Also, hello everyone. I didn't even say all the hellos. Hello Zeddicus. Hello Drock. Hello Humberto. Hello Scotty. Hello Jack. Hello Jeremy. Hello Chalky. What's that blue team, Chalky? I can't actually check it with how I'm set up right now. Also, I need to go probably change that soon. This program used to have a way to do it within the program, but ever since it updated, it hasn't been working. Do haste scrolls and Tower of Doom increase the chance of Valravens? Yes and no. Every single time you do a haste brings you closer to getting a Valraven. So theoretically, I guess the answer to that is yes. In that every single battle that you do additionally, including off the haste scrolls, which basically counts 0 sigils, do end up giving you a higher chance of finding a Valraven, essentially. It doesn't actually give you a higher sense in the sense that it increases your chance, but you know, the more battles that you do, the more chances you'll have to find a Valraven, and that just brings you one step closer to doing so. So technically, yes, taking haste scrolls increases your chance of getting Valravens. However, the average value of a haste room is about 1.25 sigils. The 1 sigil that you get back, which brings it out to a 0, and then the 0.25 is from Valraven chance, which comes out to about that much. Let's see. Hello, Steve. Hello, Jack. You placed a Doom with a Herdmaster. You have backup looping. Oh, yes, you can end up going for cleanse options and go for second mana generator. We did that a little bit with the other color. It can definitely be tweaked as we need. And if we're doing it in a Guild War context, we're mostly going to want to just hard counter whatever we're up against. I'm mostly spamming very similar ones for PvP, just because we're trying to quick kill them a bit. But if we're actually trying to not lose, we definitely would want to go down the route of changing up our entire team to perfectly counter whatever the enemy is every single time. I'm just not bothering with that for PvP, as that would be very time consuming to do so every single time for a PvP battle, on top of actually winning the battle as well. But for Guild Wars, it's definitely worth doing that switch every single time to modify your team to counter whatever the enemy is. And also, you don't necessarily have to use completely pure color like we are right now. I am, just because it's really funny to see it loop forever, because you basically can. But it's definitely not needed. Also, I say that. Let me see how many we can get right here. We'll probably kill him before it even ends looping. Let's see, 4. Because this is a lot of fun. 6. Or sorry, 5, 6, 7. This is why I run it like this. Because why not? 8, 9. Obviously, he's already dead. I can kill him at any time. 10. 11, This should be pretty broken for scoring in Guild Wars too. 12, 13, 14, 15. Do keep in mind this is with Storm too. 16. So there are several builds that can easily get Storm. 17, 18. He's gonna die randomly. 19, 20. Rip. We accidentally killed him. Yeah, normally you accidentally kill before you finish the loop. More often than not. But yeah, it is ridiculous. It's basically truffle level looping. It's ever so slightly less loopy than truffle. But under some circumstances, it's even more loopy. I don't know. It's it doesn't necessarily require. Well, it both does and does not require another troop to loop like that. It doesn't require another troop in the sense that it doesn't require another troop to cast. However, it does require another troop in the sense that it needs multiple pure colors on your team to be able to do that. So it both does and does not need other troops in order to loop like that. It doesn't need other troop casts, but it needs other troops with their coloration. Also, that silence is being really annoying right now. You just double silence us. Make that triple soon. Also, I find it really funny and rather ironic that we sometimes die to loop teams as we're using a loop team. What do we even grab here? Bit of a weird situation. I need, what's his name to unsilence already. So go for that, get our death mark. Hopefully get lucky enough with it just randomly dying. Would you like to end your loop sometime today? Possibly. Oh, we just drained all of our mana that we had on there. Rip. What even was that? This game is starting to change into, like, everything infinite looping. Do we need to go Frost Mage for that? Also, if that was a Guild War situation, we would have probably switched to Frost Mage. I keep using Priest for every single one of these times. However, you sometimes would want to switch into putting Hero in first slot and setting it to Barrier if you need a tank. Or Frost Mage if they have Loop. Or anything with Dispel if they have Submerge. There might be a few other options, but those are the main ones that you'd probably want to switch into depending on what they're using. I just keep using Priest because we're just using Priest. Just good mana accumulation. And it has the most consistent infinite if we want to actually go for it. Just because of how much extra yellow it gains, meaning it's pretty much always going to gain right back to full mana. Until it misses. Which it can miss. Especially when less things are on our team. Less there are, the higher chance it misses, since it won't be doing as many of the same color roll. Which will reduce its chance of actually getting the turn. Because anytime it does an 18-9, it's going to reduce the chance drastically of getting an extra turn. But if it does a full 27, it's almost going to get it every single time. He's using tanks in there. We could barely even tank against this, probably. Though, we need to go get alignment, though. Otherwise, it won't really be able to do much. If we can even get it. There we go. 2 tanks and they go down like they're not even tanks for the most part. And he's dead. Oh, and now he's dead. There we go. You actually went 5-2 with that defend team. Which one? Which defend team were you referring to? Not sure which one you were mentioning. Also, good morning, Birdleaf. And hello, Wizzo. Welcome, welcome. And hello, George. Hello, Chalky. And hello, Steve. I didn't already say hi. Orber, Winter, Vespera, Winter Imp, and Penguin. Oh, yeah, we were running that earlier. I believe I showed that for the video, except I didn't do it with Penguin. I did it with double Winter Imp. Also, recently I've been testing it with Scepter. But for the video one, I ended up doing the same premise just with double Winter Imp. And the main reason for double Winter Imp is normally double cast Winter Imp is enough to kill. But yeah, blue works out pretty well. I would say in the current state of the game, the strongest versions of it are yellow, then blue, then purple. However, that's going to change in about a month. Purple might actually be the most viable in about a month. So you just use Scepter to go feed it full mana, and then you spam on blue until you win. And you could either spam hero or go all in on the imp. The only thing this team is missing is Blue Storm. There's unfortunately no way to do Perpetual Blue Storm because you'd have to put Skady on your team, which would reduce the chance of extra turning, which you'd obviously want to avoid. But yeah, all you have to do is just keep looping until you can double cast Winter Imp. And the reason for doing it like this instead of with Penguin is mostly to be able to cast and then win. So we do this, and that should be the win. If he wasn't to summon, he would have been anyways. That's the whole premise. There we go. But you theoretically could replace out one Winter Imp. I just like having two just in case one dies or one gets disabled, or just because you also get an extra Water Link off it. And they're also both still gaining the full amount of benefit from all the looping. Every single blue you take is giving it 8 magic, so that's a quite substantial increase to your overall amount of damage. Oh, what do we even grab here? We'll take that for now. Grab the blue. Get Anu Scepter down. Why don't you go do it on yellow, just so he doesn't use the color. Even though he only needed 1 mana. Still worth it. Also, this one can be really bad against Emerge. But you can just set Hero to Dispel and that fixes that problem. Come on, end your turn. Or I shouldn't say end your turn, but finish the Cascade. So we can actually cast. Yeah, that should almost be enough damage. We'll do one more for good measure. I try to do one more because there's a yellow over there. Oh, there's still yellow. At this point, I might as well just one-shot him. I think that's about enough. Oh, we lost a turn. There we go. And that's why we have 2. Of course, you could just keep looping again. Which is more consistent to not have to worry about that. Just double cast. Oh, a loop team. They do not stack. Well, they stack and they don't stack. They only do it for themselves, not for each other. But it gains 8 magic when you match blue gems. However, it only applies to itself. So both of them gain 8 magic whenever you take blue gems, but only those 2 troops. So it stacks in the sense that both of them get it per blue, but it doesn't give either of them 16. Because it only applies to their self. Like any of the other bonuses that are similar to that. But yeah, it doesn't apply to your own team, only to the troop itself. So both of them are getting 8 blue, magic every single time we take a blue. But only those 2, nothing else on our team. Oh, that was a little bit too early. Now since we did it early, might as well just triple cast them. Is that even enough damage because you got the summon? Yes it is. Well, it would have been if he stopped getting summons. What's with summons today? He's trolling us right at the end. Wasting our time, having to go kill a whole nother thing. There we go. The defense team you were trash talking with double Anu, Dawnbringer, and Bard. Oh, I wasn't trash talking it. I was just saying that it's just a weird kind of team. Like, it works. It just seems like a weird way of doing it. Because the biggest issue that that team has, which is not a problem with that team, just with Mythics in general, you generally shouldn't be putting a lot of Mythics on your team. Especially when your whole team is Mythic like that. And the main reason for that is just because they're really high mana cost, which is extremely exploitable. I wish I had 2 of him. I don't even think I have a second copy of him. Of, what's his name? Oops, I meant to cast, Dawnbringer. That's not what I meant to do, but I guess that works, too. Also, that's funny. The Winter Imps actually do not have immune to freeze. Kind of forgot about that. You kind of think they would. But due to how Imps are set up, they don't. Because every single Imp has the same kind of premise, where they have the elemental bonus linked to their color, and extra magic to their color. So there's no room for, immune to freeze. Oh, we're not frozen anymore. So the slight problem is we're kind of in kill range. Also, he has a submerge, which is a problematic situation. I'm actually going to double cast just because we can't break him anyways due to submerge. So I might as well kill his whole team, cast one more time, and then kill it with that. And then we kill it. Also, did he really just live with 1 HP? Oh, you went 5-2 in Guild Wars? That's actually surprisingly well. Oh, never mind. There hasn't been a Guild Wars for it yet. Wait, what do you mean by 5-2? Oh, your defend wins? 5-2? Well, keep in mind, if you're basing it off of PvP defend wins, that's not an accurate number. Because whenever you fight someone in casual PvP, it counts as you winning, even if you didn't win. That glitch, I believe, is still in the game. Where, for whatever reason, someone fighting you in casual PvP counts as you always winning. Whenever it tracks it on your win-loss for your profile. So only Guild Wars can be used as an accurate measurement of win rate for defend teams. It's one of the reasons why I tend to only test them in Guild Wars and not anywhere else. Because your win rate will be inaccurate anywhere other than Guild Wars. It's not a bug, it's just a feature. I don't know why they haven't fixed that yet. It's been around for a while. I don't think next patch even addresses it either. I'm pretty sure it's still a thing. I haven't actually double checked it recently because it's a little bit weird to try to double check. But last I recall, it's still in the game, that bug. It's not that important, but makes it a little bit weirder to test win rate of defend teams. Also, how did we already die? I looked at chat for a second and now half my team is gone. Did he Zhuge off us or something? Hold up. How do we just lose that much team that quick? I look away for what, like half a second and my team is dead. Let's see. We'll go grab that. Get ourselves a yellow over there. Grab the other yellow. Yeah, this team is so bad against skulls. Easiest way to obfuscate that is set a 40% reduction hero class. Like, if you wanted to, like, super anti it, you can go, what's his name? Oh, what's his name? It's the Urskea hero class. Why can I not remember it? It's the Urskea hero class. Wow, why can I not remember what it's called? I don't tend to use that as often, but that thing has 40% score reduction and barrier every round. And the other alternative, of course, is just to go Titan, something similar. Wow, I need to go look that up now. Sentinel, thank you, yeah. I'm not sure why I forgot that. Yeah, you guys know. I just forgot his name for a second. I do everything about it, I just forgot what it's called. As I normally do with names. There, I'll take that for now. Oh, oops, we're frozen. Wow, why is everyone running Frost Mage all of a sudden? It's gonna happen a lot in Guild Wars, too. Even more so than normal. Worst comes to worst, we could maybe start running Cedrics. This team, even though I haven't been running it that way, using Vespera, it's probably best to run 20% mana start with 2 10% cleanses. It's one of the few situations where I would consider Cedric still to be viable, even though I keep not doing it, just because it's, assuming we don't have to deal with status effects, it's obviously quicker to set a more offensive typing. Actually, we're currently on armor, so I actually forgot to switch it back to anything useful, so I should probably go switch that just to cleanse to see how it actually goes. Because in Guild Wars, we're going to be changing that a lot. We're going to be changing our medals with this team pretty much every single time. And you change it depending on what you need. Either HP, cleanse, or magic would be the 3 that you would tend to use with this team. Cleanse you would use if you're up against status effects like freeze or entangle, particularly freeze. The HP you would use if you're up against skull spam or anything that has high skull damage output, you know, anything that can kind of rush you. Even Yagoi Queen of Tanya, since it's a spell damage rush. So basically any rush team or skull spam team. And the other one, the magic you would use in basically every other situation. where you don't specifically need to counter anything, but you would want to have additional startup for when you start casting everything. Those are the 3 main ones I'd probably say to go for. And you would change them in Guild Wars depending on the situation of the battle. Depending on which one you actually need for the battle. Hello, William! Welcome. Did I not say hello earlier? I thought I did. But welcome. Hello, Los Amigos. Welcome. And hello, Healy. Welcome as well. Glad you all could join us. Hope all of you have been having a good weekend so far. I hope you've all have good luck with trying to get the new mythic if you're going for it. I do advise attempting for it. It's a pretty decent mythic. Probably one of the better ones we've gotten in a while. Not one of the absolute most meta things, but it's pretty decent. It's mostly a Guild War option, which is one of the reasons why I'm not saying like it's absolute best. Like it's not like an Iron Gut or something like that. But if nothing else, it has a lot of Guild War potential. And you can double it as Tower of Doom if you lack options. Just this troop alone. One really nice thing about this is a lot of the things that Vespera synergizes with, due to the fact that they only use one color, are rather accessible troops. A good majority of Vespera teams use all legend or below, or even just mostly like common stuff. Well, these are technically legends, the imps. But a lot of the stuff that you synergize with it is very, very low rarity, which is good, because assuming you have Vespera, then you can build very, very low-level teams off of that Vespera that you have. So from an early game perspective, I might actually even give it higher priority than from a later game. I don't know. In both situations, it kind of seems pretty high. It's increasingly getting closer to what I would almost consider a top 5 mythic. Right now, it's probably in the category of top 10. But next Guild War will really decide how I fully feel about it. But I won't really know until we've really gotten to use it in Guild Wars for all 3 days. And I am going to be using it for all 3 days. Probably the next 2 Guild Wars, I'm going to be using it for blue, yellow, and purple most likely. Especially 2 Guild Wars from now is purple. Because then we'll have even more options to use by that point, due to some new content that's coming in early next year. Let's see. Can you tell you Prob did yesterday the new strategy with 4.7 tasks? I feel like they're going to be changing how 4.7 tasks are. But as far as the strategy with 4.7 tasks, you have 3 options. Completely ignore epic tasks and just do them once a month. And then just go and get everything done then. Because right now, basically how they changed the tasks is they made every single tree useless by distributing all the rewards basically evenly throughout all of the trees, rather than condensing it to any one tree. So now basically every tree is very bad value, except for like green maybe. So what they did was completely get rid of Nyshas and guarantee Nyshas and stuff like that. I really hope they bring those back, but there is no way to get guarantee Anus or Nyshas anymore off the new format. So that completely kills Yellow Tree. Red Tree was completely killed because they distributed all the keys that they were going to put onto Red Tree into every other tree. So now, before where you could just do the entirety of Red Tree and get a ridiculous amount of keys, now you're going to have to go and do all 6 trees in order to get that same amount of keys that you basically would have gotten just from doing the Red Tree. So that completely nerfed Red Tree into uselessness. And the only other redeeming quality that any other tree has, other than of course green having a bunch of deeds attached to it, is the fact that every 11th task, which costs like 5 million gold to reach per thing, ends up giving a deed. So for that reason, some people, some guilds might end up going all the way, just because if you want a deed farm now, you have to basically go and do every single one of those trees. However, you do get a good majority of that just from doing one tree. Just from doing green, you will get 2.66 deeds. The amount of those wits things that you get is enough to craft 1.66 of any deed you want. And then you end up getting 1 guaranteed deed on the 11th, because of course green still has that. But yeah, it's going to be... The 3 options are basically ignore it every single week, except once a month for Guild War Week. So there's that strategy, which I still feel like is probably going to be one of the better strategies. The next strategy is do green every single week, and then once a month you do every single task. So basically the same premise, except you also do green just for the deeds. And the third method is you just do all of them, and you just take the loss of resources in order to convert them into deeds, which I'm not sure if my guild will be doing or not. We might need to discuss it. But it is technically viable now to go do all the trees, for the only reason being that you would get more deeds. It would be a very slow rate of deeds, and it'd be very expensive to get those deeds, since you're basically spending multiple million of gold per deed. However, there isn't really any other way to farm deeds, so that's kind of has to be done if you want to optimize the total amount of deeds that you could potentially have. Not sure how many guilds are actually going to go down that route, but I don't know. I would still need to look at everything to 100% confirm. I still feel like the once a month method is probably going to be the best, but we still have to see if they'll tweak it one more time before it gets launched. My biggest concern now is the fact that we don't even get Nyshas and stuff off of yellow, which is pretty disappointing. I'm not sure if they're going to add them back or what, but I believe they were just giving Yasmins and guards, and obviously we do not need more guards, and Yasmins are pretty useless. At least relative to getting a free Nysha every week. Well, not free, but you know, for how easy it is to get it off of that, wasn't that bad at all. Oh, I didn't do that. That obviously would have given him a green turn. So if your guild currently does 2 to 5 legendary tasks, Keylime advised perhaps just doing up to 3 on each tree to obtain 18 gem keys and 6 event keys for 3.6 million gold. Agree? That can be done, because they did put quite a bit of the keys earlier on in the tasks. So yeah, that would be perfectly fine if you wanted to go down the route of 3 everything, do all the normal tasks, and that would be about how many legendary tasks you would have been able to do anyways, and it would still give you the same amount of value. But yeah, if you're around that range, that would probably be best. I'm kind of not really mentioning too much on it just because we don't know what it'll officially be once it launches. They keep changing it what feels like every single week. So there's a good chance it'll still be changed prior to it launches in about a week from now. Once it's 100% officially out, I'll mention a lot more about it. Like once it's 100% confirmed released. But right now it's basically all speculation until it's actually out. Oh, I'll throw that for now. Please be enough damage. No, it does not fail. Okay, that's not too big a deal though. Let's get our mana back and just poke him. Wait, how's he not dead? Oh, Smirch. I was gonna say. Whoops. Well then. That leaves us with no option because we're not running Dispel at the moment. There we go. And now he's dead. Hello, Elite Gaming. Hello, Cookie. Welcome, welcome. Also, Cookie, your name just reminded me of something. I know it's kind of random that it reminded me of this, but I need to go get a water real quick. I'll be back in a minute. I'm not sure how your name reminded me of that. I guess Cookie because of milk, and then milk is kind of like water, kind of. Not really. But anyways, I'll be back in a minute. And we're back. Anyways, water. Stay hydrated. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, what do we need? We need manas. The water meta. I didn't end up picking up a mini fridge. This didn't seem worth it. I probably will eventually. I just didn't really feel like I needed it. It's not that big a deal to go all the way to the kitchen. It's not that far of a walk. What do we even want here? Take that for now. Grab a double cast. I can't even tell what it is with everything on top of it like that. Barely even see its card. What do cows drink? Milk. Never mind. I almost just said milk. I don't know. What do cows drink? I assume just water. Like water and grass seems like it would be almost their entire diet. Yep, why did I take it that way? I don't know why I thought that was extra turn. Also, I really need to stop fighting all these people that use Submerge. How does it even have so much Submerge? Oh, Tidecaller. I was gonna say. Because it's not using Frost Mage right now. So that would explain it. Alright, we got an issue. That's a big issue with this team too, compared to using a Doom weapon. You don't have a way to bypass Submerge unless you specifically go for, what's it called? Unless you specifically go for Dispel mechanic on your team. So I'm just gonna let him probably cast soon, just so we can actually go kill him. We have enough true damage so that we pretty much will just be able to go do that. Okay, let's go poke him. Wow, that's a lot of damage. We'll do that first. Let him do his thing, poke him again. Get our mana right back, and hopefully we can get him a free skull and then just kill him that way, off the skull. Also, we just created a lot of yellow and purple. Yeah, I guess that still works. Not the colors we wanted, but same premise. Okay, let me go get my mana, and he's dead the second he casts. He'll do his support spell, which still counts as getting rid of Submerge, and then it goes down. Hello, Plus Play. Welcome. Also, hello, William. Welcome as well. He just wanted to wish you and your family the very best Christmas and New Year. Thank you so much, William. Greatly appreciated. I'm still not sure if I'm going to be seeing some family. I still need to go contact my dad in New Jersey. Not sure if I'm going to be heading down there this year or not. But we'll find out soon. Not sure what my holiday plans are. Still in the process of developing them. But I'll probably know in the next week or so what on earth I'm doing for the holidays. We'll go for that for now. My only concern with traveling during the holidays is every single place I would travel to has snow. And I just hate getting stuck in snow. And it seems to happen every single time I've been leaving lately on the holidays. Just getting stuck in snow. We'll go for that. We're not going to have enough damage for this. Especially since the other one's webbed, which is a very bad situation. So I might just need to loop this until we can one-shot him. Might be the better option. Oh, it doesn't take too long to get up to one-shot range. Oh no, it missed! Oh no, it's webbed! Oh, we got a big problem. One interesting mechanic that web has, which normally isn't too relevant, however in this particular instance it's extremely relevant, is when you are webbed, you cannot gain magic. And that is obviously really bad in this situation because, well, he has no damage, nor can he gain any additional magic for its duration. He still goes back to normal magic as soon as it goes down, but for its duration, we are completely disabled. Come on, one of you could break it. Ah, stop death marking them. You're just replenishing their thing. Their, web. As soon as we get them unwebbed, we pretty much just auto-win from there. Worst comes to worst, we could just spam this on first slot until we could just skull spam him. Which at this point might even be what we have to do. Yeah, because he just dies to every single skull we take at this point, pretty much. Yep, exactly so. Well, I guess that's the strategy we do. Not the exact way I wanted to win, but I guess it works. Tacet needs more friends in Florida. I actually currently have no friends in Florida, oddly enough. I actually don't know anyone from Florida. Well, it's not that I don't know anyone from Florida, but, you know, I'm not friends with currently anyone with in Florida. Most of my friends are either in South Carolina, where I live, New Jersey, or Chicago. It's pretty much where all my friends are. Oh, well, he already got killed. Oh, no wonder why. I was going to say, how did he kill so quick? Web spinner, duh. That's a thing. Oh, Vespera actually didn't get killed in one shot. That's good. Though we're about to. Barely. Okay, we should be fine. I should have taken that skull. Oh, still not too late. Nice. Actually, I should probably doing this on first slot, even though it could create yellow. It's because I need to go give it stats. So it doesn't die one shot to web spinner. Oh wait, never mind. It's not really gaining stats, is it? Maybe I shouldn't be doing that, actually. I forgot. It's webbed right now, so we're gaining almost no stats anyways. However, one nice interesting thing about using Winter Imp, even though she is webbed, which means she isn't going to be giving extra stats pretty much, because all she gives is 1 to random stats, which is basically 0. We do still keep gaining damage per cast, because Winter Imp gains 8 magic every single time we take a blue, and that still applies unless it gets stunned. So that ends up working out pretty decently, even though it's webbed. So we can just do that, do this, and dead. Oh, unless it summons. Also, we could still lose this if we're not careful. It's very unlikely, but Deathmark could have double killed us and then one-shotted us off of Vespera. Luckily, that didn't happen, and he's dead. Oh, hello, Zeddicus. Are you in Florida? I did not realize that. You actually live in Florida? I don't think I would ever want to live in Florida. My dad's actually planning on moving to Florida, though, which I find weird. He's lived in New Jersey for so long. I'm not sure if he's actually going to be doing that or not, or what is even his plans, but he is inclined to move to Florida. Next to Walt Disney World, nice. Who's Nysha? Nysha is it's kind of weird. They have a trait stone in this game, or not a trait stone, a medal in this game that is named Nysha. However, there's no mythic named Nysha. But basically what Nysha is... Oh gosh, we just completely failed that to freeze. But basically what Nysha is the trait stone thing. Also, I still forgot to even change these to Cedric's. I wanted to go do that earlier. But Nyshas are these. These are little medals that end up giving us various bonuses. In the case of Nysha, it ends up giving us magic. And it's one of the more sought after tokens because it has magic gain on it. And we're currently trying to get one more token because every 3 tokens converts into a badge, and every 3 badges convert into a medal. And then we could finally set 3 medals of Nysha. Currently, the best we could do is go 2 of them and have a 20% mana gain into a +8 magic. But soon we'll be able to go, as soon as we get one more Nysha, we'll be able to go a +12 magic. Which will be very beneficial for some teams, particularly teams that already have a mana start, like 50% mana start, particularly like elemental teams with Mirage Queen and stuff like that, would end up benefit probably the most from having a 12 magic gain compared to any other team. And we haven't really been farming it as much, which is probably how we haven't been getting it lately. But even still need to try getting it. I guess we'll go and do a little bit of grind on it. Keep using the new mythic. Mostly because it's a really fun mythic. It's not going to be viable for much, but it is so much fun to use. Guild Wars still seems like its only viable location. The only reason I keep using it in PvP is because we don't really have another location currently to really use it in. But Guild Wars is probably as far as it goes, and Tower of Doom if you lack options. I feel like some Tower of Doom teams will be better than it. However, it was better than the Yellow Doom team that we were using this week, so I guess you could still use it for that purpose. Oh, Zeddicus, if my dad ever actually does move down to Florida, I might need to go say hi to you sometime then. Because if I'm down there to see my dad, it might be close enough to where you live as well. That wouldn't be that far to get to you. I highly doubt he's going to be moving there, but he keeps like kind of mentioning that he might. Oh no, why does everyone move down to Florida? Isn't there something with like the tax policy there that people move down there for or something? Because I know that's why my dad ended up wanting to move down to South Carolina in the first place. Was because how their tax system was. Yeah, he still managed to bankrupt down here. That's a whole long story in itself. But, yeah, taxes are pretty low where I currently live. In South Carolina. They moved there for the weather? What, for the hurricanes? I don't know. I feel like Florida gets too many hurricanes. South Carolina does too. Like every single year now, they get hit by like 1 to 3 hurricanes. And even if it's not directly hit, it's like the scare of getting hit. Or, you know, like you have to either evacuate or prepare or do something out of your normal schedule in order to actually be ready for if a hurricane happens, even if a hurricane doesn't actually happen. Oh, do you grab here? Take a brown for now. Get a mountain. I'll take that over for now. Get the last bit of our manas. Also, he might kill our Scorpius. That would be horrifically bad. There we go. Also, I'm still on magic right now, aren't I? I should be switching to armor or HP. Let me see. Nope, I'm on Cedric's because I still shifted it for the other thing. I was wondering why we were dying. That's why. We just changed to an HP related thing for this. If we're going back to this. It's all sales tax, no state income tax. Interesting. Yeah, income tax is a very, very weird tax. Basically, the more money you make, the more money you get taxed. I always found that to be rather weird because it discourages making more money. I honestly do feel like most taxes should just be at the point of transaction. Investments and point of transaction should be where most taxes are. Taxing income and stuff like that just seems rather weird. You should tax it when it's actually used, not when it's when it's used and when it grows is when it should be taxed, not when you actually accumulate it. Oh, what do we take here? I'll take that over. Grab brown. And it was mounting it again. Oh, we'll take the skull over there. Grab our green, grab our brown. And it was gonna end up getting a mountain into a Scorpius there. And then he'll end up being dead. It doesn't discourage making more money. It's never been the case that someone turned down a higher paying job because they would be at a higher tax bracket. I wouldn't say that is necessarily true, because higher paying jobs normally means higher responsibility and higher workload. And some people, particularly people that live more minimalistically, would probably take the lower paying job while also having the lower paying taxes in order to not have to necessarily work as much. But I know quite a few people that would end up doing that exchange. Though I also have friends that also just do the other way around, where they make like over 100K a year, but they have like almost no free time. And they pay like 35% or something in taxes. Let's see. We'll take the mountain for now. And we get the other mountain. And then we good to go. Or it should be good to go if I can get that Scorpius going. I fail at greed. Oh no, I've never really been interested in having a lot of money, personally. Like, there's obviously a lot of benefits that I can do. But generally, I tend to spend frugally enough that, I don't know. Anything more than, like, tens of thousands wouldn't really be needed. Currently, I still only make around 10,000 a year or so. But I'm perfectly fine with that currently, with my current living conditions. If my living conditions were to change, I would obviously need to start making more than that. Probably have to get a side job or really commit to YouTube a lot more than I currently am. Or committed to it quite a bit. But I still only work, like, technically part-time hours at this channel. I think on average we spend about 20 to 40 hours on this channel per week. Which compared to some people who spend like 60, 80 hours a week working is rather low. Also, whatever happened to a 40-hour work week? I remember economists like way back kind of saying that by this point we'd be down to like a 15 or even like 10-hour work week. Yet some people work like 50, 60 plus now just to make rent and stuff like that these days. Rent's always been another kind of weird thing, how it's priced. Just because it can be rather expensive. I know in New Jersey, because my dad rents out like about 5 or 6 places. I believe each one runs from about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Compared to just moving somewhere cheaper and just getting buying out a nice place, because the current place I'm living in now, I believe the loan for it is only, I think, $800 a month. I want to say somewhere's around there. I know it's under $1,000 a month. And it's not bad. It's 2-bedroom, has like everything you would need for a proper shelter. Like, it's not that bad at all. And we're not renting, it's just actually being bought. Let's see. Did you ever stream Mario Maker 2? Yeah, we just did yesterday. It was just posted. Not sure when we'll be doing it again. I kind of want to go and start doing variety streaming a little bit. Like, pick a day every single week and just commit to doing a different game every single week forever. Maybe not literally maybe not doing it a different one every single time. But, you know, having like a day where we stream something other than Gems of War every single week. Ideally, it being a different game every time, but not necessarily. I've been meaning to do that for a while. I just haven't committed to it. I feel like I would start it and then just like not keep doing it. Oh, we should really consider it. Oh, let's see. We'll take that over for now. Until I get a furry costume and do a second channel. That's funny. I ended up not going with the original maker that I was looking at. So I'm kind of in the whole process of hunting for that again. It's a really annoying process. Because all the really accessible ones are extremely overpriced. And you can't just go for cheaper ones, otherwise it's just going to be a complete waste of money. It's a whole weird process. Because there's no like really proper streamlined way of doing it. Because it's something so custom. Hello, Cherry Top. Welcome back. Yes, I do remember you. Yeah, it's been a while now. But glad you could join us again. And yes, of course we missed you. I still remember a lot of people who used to watch our channel that still pop in on occasion. Whenever they pop in, it's like, oh yeah, hello again. Yeah, sometimes it's months, sometimes it's even literal years. But I do remember most of the people that pop back in. after a while. See you, Wizzo. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you later. Oh, I'll even take Hero. Go for that. Get the last little bit of our manas. And he'd be dead. Did I ever do anything more with the yellow Vespera team? We were messing with it some at the beginning of the stream. Right now we're trying to get onto Nyshas because we're still trying to find that last little Nysha right now. But, yeah, there's the Doom Skull variant, there's the Humility variant, and then there's the, oh, what was the other one I was talking about? Oh, the Cleanse one, where you do it for anti-freeze. And you end up doing that with either Voice of Orpheus or the Sister Superior. And just do that as a safe option against freeze. As well as Entangle, but mostly freeze, of course. Also, we almost gained another level. Also, did I just change the dimensions on accident? I feel like I just did. Yes, I did. No wonder why it looks slightly off. I know most people don't probably notice, but it bothers me when it's 1 pixel off like that. It drives me crazy. Okay, anyways, back to our Skia. Now that we fixed the pixels. If you have any other questions about it, feel free to ask. Oh yeah, and we do have the way to look back on the stream now too. We do have that enabled, and we've had that enabled ever since we got the new format. Because now we can do it without the connection ever going down, which is pretty cool. Absolutely love it. We haven't had a single stream disconnect since we've started the new format. And while it's a bit pricier per month, it's been going pretty well. But I've really been enjoying this new laptop. Also, I looked at a bunch of reviews after the fact on the laptop as well, which kind of seemed weird that I did it after the fact, but it has returns until like January something, so I wasn't too worried about it initially. But yeah, it seems like it's actually pretty high up there. It's a lot of people actually suggest it as one of the best laptops made in the last year, which I didn't even know prior to getting it. Like as far as like high-end laptops are concerned, it's like pretty much one of the best ones made in the last year as far as overall value. Not for like absolute best of best, but for overall value of what you pay for what you get. Seems to be one of the better value ones. And I didn't even know that prior, so works out perfectly then. Yeah, I was looking at specs. It did seem pretty good when I was like looking at the store relative to its cost, so seems like it is. And I plan on using this for at least a decade, and it should be able to. I'm still using my old one, and it's almost 7 years old now. My previous MSI laptop. I'm not sure what really made me switch over to MSIs, but honestly, they make really nice laptops. Gaming laptops. Their keyboards are horrible, though. I'm not sure why they can make such a decent laptop but make horrible keyboards. But they have like some of the most horrific keyboards I've ever seen. But everything else on them is great. I'm not sure why they can't do keyboards for some reason. We'll get a mountain. And he's dead. What level Explorer would be an efficient soul farm? 1, 2, or 3. Generally 2, because you do it for Dragon Soul in order to triple cast on it. So normally if you're going to be going in soul farming, you do it, assuming you're soul farming with Dragon Soul, you almost always do it on Warlord 2. Because you want to make sure your Dragon Soul casts 3 times. And that allows you to get maximum amount of souls. And you just do that with standard teams like Dragon Soul Double Ferris Raw into Umberwolf, or any 2 Necromancies into Umberwolf. And, you know, just centering it around Dragon Soul more often than not. It's been the best soul farming method for years now, and it hasn't changed. The way that you'd go about it's slightly different. But this team itself hasn't changed for like 3 years now. Hello, Lee Partle. Welcome. You just finally finished up your first Nysha medal. congratulations. That is definitely a great achievement to have, even though it's not an actual achievement in game. Could you imagine if it was? That'd be really annoying. Get 3 Nysha medals as an achievement. That'd be a really hard achievement. But yeah, it's nice that you finally get one. Having a +4 magic gain is obviously very, very good as an option to have. Quite a few teams can end up utilizing that, particularly obviously cast-oriented teams. But hopefully we'll finally get our last one so we can go all 3 if we ever need it. Very few teams do use that compared to using 20% mana or HP or some kind of other combination of things. However, there are teams that would be better utilized with 12 magic compared to other options. So being able to get that is within our best interest to do soon, especially since it would be very useful for... Oh, I thought that was it for a second. Would be very useful for Guild Wars. Well, there we go. We got an Anu. Not what I'm looking for, but at least we got a badge of Anu. But hopefully we'll find a Nysha. Well, we found something that wasn't useless at least. But, why did they have to look so similar? They're not exactly the same. Like, they're distinctly different. But I don't know. For whatever reason, Anu just looks so similar to me compared to a Nysha whenever we get it as a drop. Probably because both of them seem so rare. Anu's obviously a little bit more common than it, though. Can I add a link to the description on the gear I use? Also, oh yeah, I used to have it on my Twitch, but I never really posted at any other location, and all that gear was like my old stuff. But yeah, the new laptop I ended up getting was, I believe I mentioned it a couple times. It's MSI's GS65 Stealth. One of their more recent models that has a better graphics card, more RAM, and what was the other thing that was different with it? I think that was it, actually. A slightly better graphics card and just 32 gigs of RAM, which is a little bit excessive. But I figured for how little of a cost increase it was for a better graphics card and the extra RAM, because I believe it was only 150 extra or something. So I figured for that cost, I might as well, given that I plan on using this for at least a decade, ideally, this new laptop. And if I really had to, I can always use the Thunderbolt port for any external upgrades that we might want to do. Which if I ever do upgrades to it, it probably will be external ones. And the main reason for that is, for whatever reason, the internal of this laptop is very, very weird. And that it's upside down compared to how most laptops are. So it's really, really annoying to ever replace anything in this laptop. Which generally I never really do anyways. So I'd probably prefer doing it externally. But yeah, if I ever had to, I'd just do it externally most likely. Which isn't that big a deal. Oh yeah, that's the whole point of getting this laptop. I wanted to future-proof it as much as possible, which is why I made sure it had a Thunderbolt 3 port, which is why I wanted to have more RAM, and just all the features that it has. Wanted to make sure that I could use this as far into the future as I possibly could. And it doesn't even matter that it's only a 1080p screen, because you could easily hook up a 4K to it if you really had to, and then just use a capture card to capture the 4K TV, which I currently don't have a setup for that, but 1080p is fine for now. Though in about 5 years from now, we might finally make the 4K upgrade or something similar, because at that point, 4K might even be standard, because then 8K and stuff might even be a thing. Because right now, I don't feel like 4K is really all in yet. Probably won't be for several years. And for that, you could just use an external monitor. It's not really that big a deal. Right now, I even use 3 monitors, technically. I have 2 different laptops and then the TV. All of which are at 1080p. I don't know, I've seen 4K TVs before. I don't really get what the whole big deal is of them. Same as like 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second. It honestly doesn't make too big of a difference to me, personally. I know to some people, it makes like a gigantically huge difference, but I don't know. I never really noticed that big of a difference. Like with side-by-side comparisons, you can obviously... Wow, another Anu already. You can obviously see like some amount of differences. But if you're just looking at like like 180p 30. I personally don't really find that to be that weird if you're just looking at that without anything else to compare it to. What is the benefit to streaming in 4K? I don't think barely anyone streams in 4K because it's really intense on the internet. Though I think my internet connection is strong enough that we actually theoretically could. However, I probably never would. Just because, I don't know, I feel like my connection would break if I tried. It is really hard to stream in 4K. Plus, I would need completely different equipment. None of my equipment is set up for 4K. It's all set up for 1080p. Nothing I have can do 4K in any way. Nor can my capture card record 4K. There are ones that do. I probably have to spend about $500 if I wanted to get a 4K setup with what I currently have. Possibly even more. Because the capture card alone is probably going to run like $300. Though I don't intend on doing that anytime soon. 1080p is enough. We made the upgrade from 720 to 1080. I don't think we need to jump to 4K yet. I'll go for that for now. Also, the stream is still in 1080 right now. It should be. Let me double check. Yep, it's in 1080. Good. I find it funny that my previous setup could even handle 720, yet now it does 1080 without any hiccups at all. It's nice. Yeah, 4K is a little bit overrated, I would say. What Red Kingdom did you power up to 15? I personally did Mist of Scales. However, Wild Plains has a better bonus. So it really depends which way you want to go. But I personally went for Mist of Scales only because it is currently the only Red Kingdom that is associated with a faction. How watching stream at 480. But if you're watching on a mobile device, 480 is actually perfectly fine. Or if you're watching on a computer screen, and especially if you're watching on a TV, 480 definitely would not be fine. But for phone screens, 480 is enough. Also, if you set YouTube to auto, it'll sometimes lower it to even lower ones. So you normally want to set it manually. If you ever want to set it manually for any YouTube video, you just click the little cog in the bottom right of the video. If you like hover over it. And underneath there, it has a bunch of settings. And underneath quality, you can set it. Normally it's on auto. Actually, even right now, mine is on auto. It's on auto at 1080p, but it can auto down all the way to 144 if or my connection ends up going down a bit. Yeah, most TVs are 4K these days. I end up just getting a 1081. I might eventually make the upgrade, but again, not really much of a priority at the moment. Especially since I mostly just use the TV for Switch games. And Switch games don't even support 4K anyways. Oh, I get a mountain. Because like 99% of my TV usage is Switch. Like barely any of it that I've been using it for. Have I been using it for anything else? It's almost exclusively just used for my Switch for the most part. Oh, I go for that for now. Get herself a mountain. And get out of the mountain. You know a few people that have got 4K TVs for like 150 or less last weekend? Yeah, they're pretty cheap. You can get pretty decent 4K TVs for under 200 these days. My friend ended up showing me a 4K monitor that was about 150, I believe, the other day. I didn't end up getting it, though. Just because, again, I'm not making that upgrade yet. By the time I make the upgrade in a few years, it's probably going to be almost closer to 100. Who knows? Now, the TV I got that's 180 is was actually around 150 at the time, but it wasn't on any kind of sale. But I believe it was around 150 after tax and everything when we got it last year. I'll take purple for now. But it's amazing how much TVs have gone down in pricing. Like, if you get whatever the most modern TV is at any given time, it's still extremely expensive. But as far as, like, the quality of, like, low to mid-tier TVs is insane these days. Compared to what they were, like, a decade ago. Yeah, 8K TVs, I believe, cost about 1,000 to 2,000, or somewhere around there. But 1080p and 4K TVs are around like anywhere from 100 to a few hundred. Unless you get like a smart TV or something similar that has a bunch of additional features. I've never actually owned a smart TV. I know people that have, though. Haven't really ever gotten to use any enough to really know what they're really about. You saw a video about an OLED TV to see TV that is see-through. Why would you want a see-through TV? Depending on the layout of your room, a see-through TV would actually be pretty cool. Because it would make it so your TV doesn't have to be up against a wall. So that you could have more of an open concept room and have it more towards the middle of the room. Rather than against a wall. Because most TVs, with how they're structured currently, modernly, or you know, with what currently exists, they have to be up against a wall for the most part. Whereas most of those TVs, if they were transparent like that, you could have more as a centerpiece or anywhere that isn't specifically up against a wall. So that's probably the main reason for something like that. Very rarely would you really need a TV like that, but I feel like that's probably the biggest purpose of a TV like that. For people that don't want it up against a wall. Wouldn't you see your room while watching it? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to have an image enough that you could like see behind it, but it wouldn't be so much so that the room would be distracting. But I don't know, I've never actually seen one of them before. Because you'd be focusing on the image that's on the screen, not the background of it. But then you could kind of like focus on the background to see behind it if you needed to. Almost kind of like how a fish tank is, kind of. That's like the closest comparison I can really think of. Whereas even if you like can see behind it, you're mostly focusing on the fish. And the same premise is for the TV, whereas you can still see behind it, but you'd mostly be focusing on the image that's on the screen, not the image behind. Also, that's something that I always found really interesting. Fish tank walls. Where you use like a fish tank as a divide as a wall. I always found those pretty cool. I don't think I would ever get one though. Fish tanks are a lot of maintenance. I know a few friends that used to have one back in high school. I'll go get that. Actually, despite having fish, I don't think I've ever actually had a fish tank. I've always just had ponds, and all the fish used to be in the ponds. Hello, Victor. What is your team made up of currently? Which one? The one we're using right now? This is Mountain Crusher, Scorpius, Leprechaun, and Uryali. It is currently one of the quickest, if not the quickest, Tradestone farming team in the entire game. Not sure how much longer it'll be viable for, but as it currently stands, it is pretty much the meta for farming factions. You just keep spamming Arskea because Arskea is the only kingdom in the entire game that has 0 immune to poison, and then you just quick kill them. This is also one of the quickest gold rates in the entire game, being able to reach anywhere from about 300 to 400,000 gold per hour, which is a really high amount. That's like PvP level, possibly even higher than PvP level gold per hour, which is substantially high. You could basically 1 million gold within 3 hours with this method, while also getting a lot of tokens. And currently there aren't really any other ways to get tokens, at least until next patch, but even then it's barely any other way. But as it currently stands, essentially the only way to really go about grinding tokens is to spam explore. So doing this while also gaining the highest rate of gold in the game is a pretty nice combination, because it basically has the highest trait stone rate in the game, while also simultaneously having the highest gold rate in the game, while also technically having the highest trait stone rate in the game too, or among one of them. Not the absolute highest, but pretty quick, because you can actually get quicker by doing level 1, 2, or 3 explore, because that still gives the exact same trait stone drop rate. However, you're still getting a lot of arcanes and stuff from this. As you can tell, if we ever go look at our arcane stack, we have over 1,000 arcanes from this kingdom now, almost all of which came from farming with this method, which is kind of funny. Oh, that's not a mountain. Oh, what do we take here? Let's grab that down. I need to wait till we get an extra turn so we can actually kill them, because they do have to be poisoned for us to get the instant kill. There we go. Okay, and now we start killing them. It's the only slight issue with this team. Sometimes it doesn't get the extra turn. You can use a web spinner instead of a Reale. However, the Reale is normally quicker. However, if you do use a web spinner, make sure to use it in front of the leprechaun so that you gain mana for it quicker, because it's really important that you get it up quick. Do you ever think they will come out with a egg thief type troop for souls? Probably not. Why would you even need one? Well, I guess if you're running more of a PvP-oriented team to farm souls, I guess it could potentially work. Can't really think of too many other instances where you would necessarily need one, though. Unless you're going for more of a sacrifice soul farming team, but I don't think you would ever really build around that for the most part. Trying to think of what you'd actually use it for. I feel like the most useful soul farming troop they could ever add is a dragon with necromancy. It wouldn't be useful for people who already have fair Shraz, but for people who don't have fair Shraz, it's probably going to be one of the most viable soul farming troops in the game. It'll be the replacement for Azarus in soul farming teams. It would also allow soul farming teams to be able to be used a little bit more offensively, since it would increase the damage of Dragon Soul, while hopefully itself also being a damage source, or at least a mana generator if nothing else. It would be for a soul farm troop that's cheap. Well, quite a few soul farming troops are cheap. The cheapest necromancy in the game is Warlock, and he's a rare that has necromancy on second trait. Your next best bet is Azarus. Azarus isn't as cheap. However, he's an epic that has +1 purple while also having necromancy. He's currently, Azarus is currently the best non-fair Shra soul farming assisting troop, and that it has 50% necromancy and the purple, +1 purple link, which is used by almost every single soul farming method. Which I believe literally every soul farming method uses it, because Dark Troll method uses purple, Dragon Soul method uses purple, and Fair Shra method uses purple. I don't think there's really any other method that's really used. Well, I guess there's Valkyrie. It wouldn't technically work for Valkyrie. I don't think most people do Valkyrie build these days. It was really popular the first 2 or 3 years of the game, because for the first 2 years or so, there wasn't even any other option other than using Valkyrie. And then people, even after other options came in, were still using Valkyrie because they were just so used to it. And it took a little while for it to kind of get phased out. But I don't think too many people really use the Valkyrie method anymore, even though it was meta for like the first 2 years of the game for quite a long time. But then eventually other methods came in that just made it not necessarily obsolete, but a lot less used. At one point, Valkyrie was such an overused troop, because it was the only method to gain additional souls in the game, that it was used about 4 to 5 times more than any other troop in the entire game at one point within the game's history. It was pretty funny. That was like the first year and a half of the game, though. I think is when they had that poll data. Or not poll data, but actual in-game data on it. So that's something that they haven't showed us for a while. Like actual in-game data for something. Even if it's something rather trivial. I think their 3-year anniversary, they gave us a bunch of data that they laid out in a nice graphic. And they also did it for that Valkyrie thing that I just mentioned. But I can't recall anything that they've done recently where they shared data. They haven't done that for a while now. Hello, Liz! Welcome! Also, hello, September Blake. I don't think I said hi. Welcome as well. Have cleaning them wasn't such an ordeal. Yeah, that's the biggest issue with fish tanks. Because you constantly have to clean them. Even if you have those little fish that kind of clean them, you still have to clean them. Let's see. I already answered that. Some soul farming teams got even cheaper with 20% mana start. Yes, it is now... Well, that didn't make them cheaper, but it made them quicker. The 20% mana start did make soul farming slightly quicker in that regard. However, it's still overall slower because the loop that you have to go through in order to do explore is slightly slower than it previously was. However, the 20% mana start somewhat makes up for it, but not completely. It's still overall slightly slower than what it was at its highest point, but not by much. You can still get almost 50,000 souls per hour with Dragon Soul, Double Fierce, Raw, Umber Wolf. But it is ever so slightly slower than the quickest it ever has been, but ever so minimally. If the 4.7 patch kills Gems of War, what game do you move on to? I'd still be doing Gems of War. I'd just be doing an even higher amount of variety streaming than what I already plan on doing, but I'm still doing that regardless. Planning on, you know, playing a wider range of games into the foreseeable future. But no, I'll always be playing Gems of War. I'll be playing Gems of War until the servers go down, and even then we'll probably find another game similar to Gems of War to get into. Also, even if Gems of War ever did stop, the company itself would probably still be making games, and they've made some pretty good ones in the past. Like, if they could just make a Puzzle Quest level game like Gems of War, they'd be set for a while. Hopefully Puzzle Quest 3 will be good like that. If Puzzle Quest 3 takes the Puzzle Quest 1 route, they could make a really, really solid game with everything that they learned from doing Gems of War for years. Also, gosh, we got 3 Anus, but still no Nysha. At least we're getting lucky with Anus, if nothing else. Am I paid by Infinity Plus 2? Pretty much no. The lead developer of the company does give me some amount of money through Patreon every single month. However, other than that, no, I am not directly paid by them in any way, shape, or form. Also, that money that they give is completely unconditional. I don't have to do anything specifically for that money, other than the fact that I just happen to make content for the game. But no, I'm not paid by them to do anything specifically or to have any kind of like biased opinion or anything. Seems like I should be. I wish. But who knows? Maybe if they launch another game, they'll contact me about something. Because they're definitely going to be launching another game eventually. Their most recent ordeal, of course, was releasing an HD remake of the first Puzzle Quest, but that was just a remake. That wasn't like actually releasing a game. Oh, what do we grab? Take a brown. Why would 4.7 kill the game? I don't feel like it will. Like, I honestly still feel like they should tweak the task system more than they currently have. Like, the current state of it, I'm still not, like, fully in favor of. But I don't really feel like it's going to kill the game. They're basically just trying to rebalance around the gold economy. Because the gold economy keeps shifting so much so quickly. More so than almost any other part of the game. How am I killing the troops so quickly? Scorpius has an ability where he instantly kills whatever he hits if they're poisoned. So we're using our Yali with an extra turn to poison them off of just doing 1 extra turn, and then they instantly die to any hit we do. And the reason we keep exploring specifically in Urskea rather than following all the 20% is Urskea has 0 troops immune to poison. It's the whole reason why this is even viable in the first place. Is there's almost a 0% chance there to find something that has poison. And I say almost 0% chance because there is actually a very small chance we do get a battle with poison immune. And that's if and only if we find a mech gnome. Mech gnome has impervious, which will obviously have immune to poison. And that's the only instance where we would have a battle that doesn't have immune to poison when fighting in Urskea. However, the chance of that is so ridiculously rare. When it's not a gnome event, it's probably like a 1 in 200 chance or something like that we specifically find a mecha gnome in a battle. Might be even lower chance than that. It'd be very rare. During a gnome event, it's a lot more common though. About 1 in every 50 to 1 in every 100 battles or so would probably be a mecha gnome during a gnome event. But when it's not a gnome event, it's almost statistically 0. Let's see. They changed the task cost to be 31.5 million total, so it's not as harsh as mid-tier guilds. Well, the overall cost I don't feel like it's going to be too big of an issue to most people, mostly because for people that only do the normal tasks anyways, which is a good majority of the player base, like only the really active portion is getting all tasks done. Good majority of the player base, like 80, almost 90% or something, maybe even more than that, only end up getting up to completing all the tasks once and maybe just doing a few legendary tasks. And at that point, if that's where you are, all you do is just do the normal tasks as you normally would. And at most, you would just go do a few tiers into all of the epic tasks, and that's it. You wouldn't really go any further than that. And that's not really going to nerf their loot. If anything, it's about the same as what legendary tasks are now. So it's not really going to affect negatively newer players at all. The main people it's going to affect are the super ultra late game people, which are some of the most vocal people in the game, which is why it kind of seems like that. But the only real people it will affect is like the top 1% of players for the most part. And it basically just brings the overall value of tasks ever so slightly down, but in doing so gives more unique loot. My biggest concern with the task system currently is that they got rid of Nishus and Anus. I don't know why they got rid of Nishus or Anus. I hope they bring them back. But no longer does Yellow Tree give you a guaranteed Nisha or Anu like it did prior, which was pretty much the whole point in even doing the Yellow Tree to begin with. So hopefully they bring those back, because that was like almost all the value in that tree, and he's completely removed it for whatever reason. But if they bring that back, I'm probably be happy with the new task system. Like, maybe not happy, but like I understand why they're doing it. Oh, I'll take that down for now. Because they're always trying to close the gap between late game players a little bit. Because the biggest issue with this game, particularly in the past, is that the top 1% of players would just exponentially get so much further progress than anyone else. And they're just trying to tone that back ever so slightly without like overly nerfing it. Because once you have a lot of resources in this game, it is really easy to keep getting a lot of resources in this game. It's always been that way throughout the entire history of the game. It still is, even into next patch. They're just trying to tone it down a little bit so that other players can actually catch up newer players. Because they're trying to rebalance it a little bit better for a new player experience, I believe is their main goal there. Because after playing a mobile game, and kind of just seeing what mobile games are like now that I actually have a mobile phone, and kind of just looking at some of them, Gems of War could definitely use some tweaking for early game, relative to how other games are set up. Like, Gems of War doesn't have a bad early game per se. It's just not necessarily set up the best for helping newer players get situated into the game. But once you finally get past that initial hurdle, it's pretty easy from there. It's just the start is kind of weird compared to some other games. It's one of the other reasons why I believe they added a bunch of those guaranteed troops to upgrading kingdoms, to kind of give kind of like a standard pool of troops to new players to be able to utilize. Also, is this stream lagging at all? I just noticed that it said video output low. I don't think the stream's gone down yet, though, but that's weird. I haven't seen that for ever. What's it doing? It better not drop the stream. Okay, we'll go throw that down. Thoughts on the new Mythic? It's really good. Where would you rank it? Probably top 10. My opinion might be top 5 after next Guild War. We'll have to see if it can consistently do 9,600, 900, 700 Guild Wars. If it can actually pull off a 9,700 Guild War, it's top 5 in game. If it scores like 9,500 or just like a consistent 9,600, it's probably top 10. But if it can effortlessly do like a 9,650 or higher, it's probably top 5 in the entire game. Mostly because it's just a needed Guild War option at that point. Because it has potential on being the best yellow, blue, and purple Guild War troop in the entire game. Which is a lot of ground to cover. Not to mention you can also double it for using it for Tower of Doom if you don't have other options. Which means even newer players might want to get it. Just because a lot of the things it synergizes with are lower rarity for the most part. As well as the fact that it can be used for half of Tower of Doom and half of Guild Wars as a viable option. I wouldn't really advise it for Delves, so theoretically it could be used for Delves too. But there's better options for Delves. I feel like it'd be way too slow for Delves, personally. It's definitely not a fast troop. It's a troop that you use when you want to win. It reminds me of kind of like how Famine was in his prime. He was never fast, but he was good at not losing. And he was good at scoring decently. Actually, he didn't really score that decent in Guild Wars, but he was good at not losing. This thing will be decent at not losing, or a little bit, well, it'll be a little bit higher of a lose rate. However, it'll be really good at scoring well in Guild Wars with how it gets scored in the current format of the game. And that might change into the future. But as it currently stands with how Guild Wars is scored, it's going to be really viable for it. Is there any class with stun? Yes, War Priest has a 25% chance per turn to stun. Very rarely would you ever use it, but there are some really niche instances where you would. For example, this team could actually use it, oddly enough. The team we're using right now would actually benefit from it if we were up against any team that had immune to poison while not having immune to stun. Because then we could stun them to get rid of their immune to poison. Very rarely would you ever use War Priest, though. It's a rather underwhelming hero class. And his stun is way too low of a chance. They need to increase that to at minimum 50%. It's way too low as it currently is. That or just completely change it. They are planning on reworking hero classes likely early next year, though. Oh, it is 50%. Never mind. Well, it was 25% then. I know something on hero is 25% that's completely useless. But never mind. I forgot it is 50%. It's still pretty bad, though. The main inconsistency with it compared to using other stun options is you don't get to target it in any way, shape, or form. And it's not guaranteed. So you'll have to wait like 8 turns, and then even then it might not necessarily hit every single one once. Because it can overlap the same one. Even if an enemy is already stunned, you can trigger a stun onto that stunned enemy. And while that will refresh the stun, it won't help you if you're trying to stun the entire team. Oh, I know it was 25%. The freeze off of Frost Mage, I believe, is 25%. That was the 25% one, I'm pretty sure. I was just confusing it with War Priest for a moment there. Because I believe Frost Mage has that 25% freeze on cast. Nope, still no Nysha. It's only a matter of time. We shall get it. And then we shall be done with the grind. Well, technically done. Not exactly done. It's more like the 1/10 the way there, not even. It's more like the... I don't know, what even is the percent? We need so many Nishas. Every single mythic requires 6 Nishas to guarantee max it. And there's like, what? 40, 50 mythics in the game? And we only have almost 3 of them done. And we need like 200-300 of them or something. total. So yeah, that means we're only like 1% the way there. Actually, how many mythics are in the game these days? I'm not even sure what the exact number is. What am I looking for? Troops. Dude by base rarity. Yeah, I remember when mythics first came out. Feels like it wasn't even that long ago. And now there's so many of them. What am I looking for? Base rarity. Let's see. There are 8, or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 times 8. What does that come out to? 48. There are 48 mythics currently in the game, which means what's 48 times 6? 48 times 6 comes out to 288. You need 291 Nyshas in the current state of the game. 288 to max every single mythic at 100% chance. And then another 3, you just have 3 to set as your slots. Yeah, no one's even remotely close to that. That means once we have 3 Nyshas, we are basically 1% done with all the Nyshas we ever need. And technically even then we'll end up needing more, because by then obviously more mythics would be added to the game. But yeah, having 3 Nyshas is about 1% of all the Nyshas you're ever going to need. That is a lot of Nyshas. I see what they mean by they never really intended anyone to actually complete it. Because, yeah, you're not going to. That's not going to happen. Unless they do something to drastically increase the rate at which you can get them. Which might happen eventually. It's happened with almost every resource in this game. Has increased in the amount that you can get. I feel like the only resource that has gone down in the amount that you can get is, like, drastically, is gems. Every other resource, for the most part, has either gained or had a really consistent high number. Like, Soul Form for the longest time always increased and now just has a consistently high number. Gold has always increased. There's pretty much never been a point in the game where gold has ever gone down. It's pretty much always gone up the rate at which you get gold. And this explore method actually just made it go up even higher as well, since no longer do you have to do PvP to farm gold. And this, for most people, is a much more consistent method than running PvP over and over again. But most resources in this game, their rate has gone up in time. The rate at which you can accumulate the resource. Even the rate of deeds is increasing next patch. The rate of tokens is technically increasing ever so slightly next patch. Stuff like that. But at one point in the game's history, you could actually get a couple thousand gems per week if you're in like the top 0.1% of guilds. That's obviously not the case anymore. They have nerfed gem rates quite a bit over the years. Oh, it's still generously high for a free-to-play game. There's one game I did pick up on mobile recently, which I've been a big fan of the genre for since I was a kid. But, oh, what is it called? Clash Royale, I believe it is? I believe it's Clash Royale, not Clash of Clans. I forget which one it is. I always keep confusing the two names. It's whatever one has the 2-lane system with like the tower defense kind of style of gameplay. That game I ended up trying a couple days ago and been playing it here and there. But I might stream it to the channel soon as well. It's a decently fun game. I probably won't be playing it for too long, but I wanted to pick it up just to kind of mess around with it. But they give so few premium currency, and I'm pretty sure a lot of free-to-play games are like that these days. In that it is so ridiculously hard to get premium currency in the game. Like, the rate at which you get it is basically limited based on something, and you can only ever get a very small amount. But Gems of War is actually pretty generous in that there's a lot of ways to get gems. Getting gold gives you gems, getting glory gives you gems, playing treasure hunt gives you the highest rate of gems in the game, anywhere from like 50 to 70 depending on how you go about spending the other resources. And you get them, plenty of them from guild, you get them daily from tasks. There's like a billion different things that you can get them from. The way that they have it set up, that's probably one of the best things about... Wow, we just got a double Anu. What is with Anus? That's like our 5th or 6th Anu now. Also, I might want to screenshot that. I don't think I've ever gotten double Anu. That'd been fun if that was a triple. But that's not what we want. We want Nyshas. But there we go. We got a medal of Anu. We were getting so many Anus this stream. Nice. But anyways, but yeah, the Gems of War is pretty generous with gems. Which I guess makes sense. It is in the name of the title. Haha. We'll grab that over. But I feel like most players never feel obligated to need to buy gems. which I feel like is one of the things that they're slightly trying to change. Because buying gems has always been rather pointless in Gems of War. Other than when the game launched, there has never really been a point in which buying gems was necessarily needed. Some people still do it, but there's at no point where it's necessarily required for anything. Of course, it can still be done to reduce downtime. With all the flash offers they're doing, it's almost better value just going for those. Which is still like buying gems, but you get other stuff on top of it, which make it more worth it. Also, Gems of War still has a lot of things that are overpriced, though, within the game. And that list is quite expansive. Like, almost 80 to 90% of purchases in the game are overpriced. Actually, we could just go through them right now. Let's see. What's every single thing that's overpriced in Gems of War? Let's see. Overpriced, 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 overpriced. Though sometimes these are worth going for just because they're guaranteed mythic and there's not too many other methods. But still technically overpriced relative to like any other free-to-play game. Overpriced, 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 and also useless. Slightly overpriced, though. I did do this. This is only extremely viable if you plan on playing like a ridiculously high amount within a month. But it's still overpriced compared to how most games have like a membership thing. It's basically like a $20 membership per month, essentially. And it's not even for a full 30 days. It's actually 28 days. But, overpriced. Let's see. What's everything overpriced here? Literally all of these overpriced because flash offers are just better than that now. You never spend gems on these. All these are overpriced. All these are overpriced, except for maybe the $5 weapon just because there's no other method, but still technically a little pricey for them. Those are just free. And all overpriced. Particularly the keys are excessively overpriced. This is semi worth it for some people just because there isn't any other method. But that's one of those kind of conditions where it's only worth it because the game doesn't properly give it. I always hate when games do that, where they kind of like lock something behind it being so inconvenient to get that you almost need to buy it. And Epic Ingots technically are somewhat like that. However, they are trying to fix that slightly. But they do have a thing where you can go and buy them. But all those are overpriced pretty much as well. Like, the only thing that's really worth it, I would say, in the current state of the game is Death Knight armor, because Death Knight armor is basically like buying the game, kind of, in a way. And flash offers, just because they're actually not overly priced. And not all flash offers, just the one that specifically come up here for a limited time. Definitely never do the ones that are for upgrading troops, because those are also a waste of money. The ones that cost like $15 just to go and give some EXP and some traits to something, and like $35 to like fully ascend it and a bunch of other things on it. It's just so overpriced. But the flash offers are normally not that bad. I don't think I even made any mention of it this weekend, but I do currently have a flash offer for 1 VIP key and 90 gems, which isn't that bad. But yeah, those are like the only things. Death Knight armor and that. The flash offers that are there occasionally. Like the only ones. At least in the current state of the game. Oh, you got a double Nysha yesterday. Congratulations. I wish I could get one of them. Do you need that other Nysha at the moment? I could really use it. All free-to-play games are overpriced. Gems isn't any worse. For the most part, that is kind of true. Though I feel like Gems of War is somewhat egregious in some of the methods. The biggest issue, I really feel like Gems of War should get rid of almost every single thing that they currently sell. Rethink how they sell things and go from there. Like, that was kind of what they did this year with the flash offers, and I feel like they've been pretty successful with the flash offers. But I feel like they need to do that with a lot of the rest of the game, where they overhaul a lot of it in order to make it a little bit more reasonable for people. I don't know. It just seems a little bit out of place how pricey some things are within the game. And I know that free-to-play market kind of is like that in general. But I don't know. Some things in Gems of War just seem a little bit over the top, even compared to other free-to-play games. And it makes everything else that is actually reasonable look off in comparison. And it doesn't make it look good for the game when stuff is like that. You should never have a purchase in the game that's 100% useless. And there's a lot of them in Gems of War that are like that. You had a dream you could make Nysha medals out of VIP keys. So you bought the FO. What's the FO? Wait, what is FO? But that would be pretty convenient if you could actually make Nyshas out of VIP keys. I would totally spend like 10 VIP keys for a Nysha. That'd be pretty pricey, but I have enough gems that wouldn't matter. Also, we currently have 6 VIP keys just sitting there. For whatever reason, Salty actually gave out 2 redeem codes recently, both of which had a VIP key in it. On some of her recent streams. Unfortunately, I can never get codes that are that big. But, yeah. We do technically still have that 25 gem code that I can give ever so occasionally. Last time we gave it out was during Thanksgiving. And 25 gems is basically half a VIP key. Except you can use it for anything. Oh, flash offer. Oh, okay. I just didn't see it abbreviated as FO before. It threw me off for a second. I almost thought it was like a troop or something. Because normally when someone abbreviates something, it's for a troop. In context of Gems of War. They need to reduce the cost of Dawnbringer. That's probably something that's never going to happen. Dawnbringer, I think, is actually fine with how it currently is, personally. It was always added to kind of be this kind of late game or later part of mid game kind of weapon, where you sink a little bit of souls in order to get a really decent weapon. But no, I don't feel like Dawnbringer's overpriced. What I do wish would be added, though, is a better way to soul farm in the game. Soul farming is currently rather boring if you don't want to go do arena. Like, if you want to do the quickest method of soul farming in the game, which of course is using double fair shroud, it's not the funnest thing to use. It's really, really tedious. And it would be nice if they added a game mode that isn't arena, that was actually good for souls, or finally make a buffed arena. It's something that people have been wanting for quite a while, ever since they teased us with Epic Arena. For any of you that don't know, for a couple weeks or almost a month or two, we ended up having something called an Epic Arena, which is basically just arena, but it had, instead of having commons to ultra rare, it had rares to epics. So basically, you were able to get epics within arena and use them, and even get them for a relatively cheap amount of gems at the time. So it was a pretty nice way for people to like accumulate epics and stuff like that. And it'd be really great if they made an arena that was, since we have one of the 3 lower rarities, if they made a version of arena that was the 3 higher rarities of epic, legendary, and mythic. It's something I've been wanting to see in this game for forever, and it'd be a great way to add a better soul farming method to the game as well, because obviously they could make the loot for doing that arena way better than the previous arena, and have the other arena more so as an early game option, and then have the other arena as a late game option. But it's something that they've haven't ever ended up implementing, unfortunately. But it'd be a nice fix for soul farming while also being pretty much a new game mode in and of itself. And all they'd basically have to do is copy current arena, but do it for the higher 3 rarities rather than the lower 3. And they probably wouldn't have it so you could 100% get them, obviously, but, you know, they could still have some kind of method for it, if nothing else. Maybe basically have it so you get, like, some kind of chest that you could end up getting at the end for some amount of gems. And then that chest would have, like, one guarantee epic of the one that you just used, and, you know, maybe some other kind of drops in there with a chance of the mythic you used and a chance of the legend you used. Because there's no way they would give you a way to 100% buy the legend or mythic. They would never do that. But, you know, they could do something around that. And it'd be a great way, alternative to farm souls that wouldn't be as boring. While also making arena viable for late game, which it currently is not. Unless you're trophy farming, is the only exception. Because it's, a normal arena is actually currently the highest trophy rate in the entire game, oddly enough. The problem with purchases in Gems of War is that it's too easy to play without paying anything. Yes, that is a thing. Though I do hate games that make it mandatory. Clash Royale, that I was also just mentioning, kind of as our example right now. It is basically mandatory to pay $5 a month if you want to play the game. Just because it ends up unlocking the seasonal pass, which honestly I also hate any game that does the seasonal pass kind of thing, because it makes you obligated to feel like you have to play it up to the full amount, especially if you're paying to actually get the pass. But it's like a double thing of why I kind of hate seasonal passes. The first is that it makes you feel obligated to have to play the game a bunch. But the other one is it also makes you feel obligated to have to pay whatever the seasonal pass thing is, because you know you're getting less loot from anything that you're doing on the pass by not buying it. And I don't know, I always hated that kind of model. But the game is fun, so I figured it's only $5. I'm probably only playing it for like a month or two, so $5-10 to have a bunch of fun with the game isn't too big a deal. Also haven't been paid walled yet. I'm pretty sure late game in the game is paid walled. But early on in the game, it's not that bad. What do we grab? Get the thing down. It's not as bad as Hearthstone. I feel like Hearthstone was extremely paid walled if you're like a newer player. And I felt like I never got past the paywall section. If you even can ever get past the paywall section in Hearthstone. I think I only ever spent 5 hours on that game as well. Let's see. Have I ever told them about that arena idea? I have, though it has been a very long while since I've mentioned it to them. But I have in the past. So it might have been like 2 or 3 years ago since I've last mentioned it to them. But they could definitely code it. They've done it for epics before. Wouldn't be that hard to do it for the other 2 rarities, I would assume. What do we do here? Get our explosion. Get our Scorpius down. And he's dead. Yeah, I don't mind spending a little bit of money into games I plan on playing a lot. I just hate when it feels obligated to have to spend money on a game. Or, you know, in a free-to-play game where it basically, like, forces you to have to, essentially. Or at least indirectly does so. Because there's a lot of free-to-play games that basically just locks content or really important features that need to be in the game behind having to pay that money for those features. But luckily Gems of War doesn't do that. But in not doing that, they've made it so much so that you basically never need to spend money on the game unless you just want to. Which is both good and bad. It's definitely not as predatory. But it's also bad in that they probably don't make as much money that way. Yeah, I never could get into Hearthstone. I tried it for a couple months and then just had to drop it. It seems really overpriced and extremely pay to win. And they don't give enough for free-to-play players. I'll go for that for now. Grab the yellow over there. The other thing. Yeah, that's another thing that can happen in Gems of War. With how the economy's set up, once you reach late game, and particularly end game, every purchase that's within the game basically does nothing. The only purchase that a late game player could ever make that would actually be good for their account is basically buying deeds. There isn't any other resource a late game player would need to get currently in the game other than deeds. And maybe medals, I guess. But deeds is probably like the only real big one that would actually be worth buying for a endgame player. Because most endgame players don't really need anything else other than that. And while they technically need tokens, they can be infinitely farmed pretty easily. Whereas obviously deeds cannot. I've only ever used the Ring of Wonder once in Gems of War, and I used it on my Switch account when we launched the Switch account. And the main reason I did that was because of we were going to be playing it enough that month that it was I felt like it would be worth it. It's only particularly worth it in early game to mid game though. Later on in the game, it has relatively bad value. So if you're going to be playing for several hours a day, it could still be worth it to some people, though, even in late game. It's just, that's one of the kind of things that where you would have to play a bunch to actually utilize its value. Which I generally don't care for purchases that are like that. However, I did do it once for the Switch account because we already were planning on playing it a bunch regardless. So I figured, why not? Yeah, $50 each for the Orbs of Power is pretty expensive, especially since you're just going to be crafting a Zhuge out of them anyways. And Zhuge is by no means worth $50, even $50 for one. Like, Zhuge is very rarely used. Oh, so hello, Gustavo. Welcome. If I already said hi, but welcome. Short-term memory. Anyways, also, I haven't done it yet. After we get our next chest drop, let me go hand out a code. Because we still haven't given one out, have we yet? Wait, did I? It should be on my copy-paste. Why is it not in the slot? Okay, I don't think I did yet. For whatever reason, it wasn't in my thing. But I'm pretty sure I didn't yet. But we'll hand one out in, as soon as we get our next chest drop, and hopefully that'll be a Nysha. I'll hand it out right now if that's 1,000 glory or a vault key. Otherwise, we'll wait for the chest. Come on, good loot. Come on, glory gnome. Well, technically all of its drops are good. Oh, 1,000 glory. Okay, we'll get into the code now. There we go. That's basically like a vault key. That's worth 50 gems. Well, 45 gems. Well, it depends how you look at it. But it is worth a pretty decent amount of value, 1,000 glory. It's really nice. Yeah, 1,000 glory is worth anywhere from 45 to 50 gems, depending on how you value it out. And the main reason it's worth that much gems is that's how much gem value, it's how much gem key value it has. If you compare it to the cost of gem keys, which costs about 9 gems per, 9 to 10 gems per key, 9 to 10 glory keys equals about 1 gem key. And 9 to 10 glory keys is 180 to 200 glory. Yeah, it ended up taking me about 14 months to get Zhuge or so. 14 or 15. Took me a little over a year. It definitely takes quite a bit of time. Even if you're fully dedicated to the game, playing it weekly, or even literally daily. Well, mostly because most of the methods for gaining orbs are on a weekly basis, which is why I say weekly. But even if you play the game constantly, it can take upwards of a year to get a Zhuge. And especially from an early game perspective, it probably would take even 2 years. Like if you're starting a brand new account and your goal is to get Zhuge, to do it for free, it's going to take like 2-3 years. He's definitely not that required though. If you own the Iron Gut, you pretty much own Zhuge. Iron Gut in most situations is a better version of Zhuge. And it's way cheaper. Because once you have 4,000 diamonds, you just have to wait for him to come in Soul Forge, and then boom, you got him. Whereas Zhuge is a much longer process than that. Because 4,000 diamonds doesn't take that long to get. Even as a newer player, you could probably get your first 4,000 diamonds within a few months. Whereas normally it can be doing about 2 months or so, a little over 2 months, I believe it is. As a newer player, you can still get it done easily in 3 months. For your first mythic craft. Actually, I think we did it even quicker on our Switch account. Forget how long it took. But I know I crafted a mythic. Yeah, I only played the account for like 2 months. So I forget what made us get so many diamonds. But we did have enough to get one pretty quick. Because I remember specifically crafting a Ferrous Raw. And then we ended up getting another drop off of it. It was our first craft that we ever did on the account. Is Discord down? Do you mean our server or the entirety of Discord? But yeah, still been trying to tweak the server so it'd hopefully be correct. For whatever reason, the bot was kicking people. Hopefully it stopped doing that. The bot, for whatever reason, was like kicking people randomly for no reason. Not sure why. Do you think they will add another troop in the Soul Forge that costs Orbs of Power? I don't think so. They might eventually, but it's one of those kind of things like Dawnbringer. Like, it seemed like they would add more Dawnbringers to the game. However, they never did. And it almost seems like one of those kind of situations. But no, I don't think they're ever actually going to add another Zhuge-like thing that costs power orbs. And if they do, I feel like it's going to cost less power orbs, not more, or the same. That'll just leave him as the only thing that costs power orbs. Just kind of leave him special. Kind of like how that other troop's the only troop in the Soul Forge that requires other weapons in order to be crafted. Dawnbringer's somewhat like that, but you know, as far as actual troops, Xenos is the only one that's set up like that. Which kind of just makes them a little bit more unique in that regard. They're also a little bit more annoying to get as well. Okay, please have a Nysha. Also, no problem for the code. But yeah, definitely make sure to go use it, everyone. Same loot as always. And speaking of same loot as always, same as that chest. But yeah, redeem code gives same thing as always. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. You use it. Your invite code can be found in your settings menu, whatever your game says there. Redeem code's right over there in chat. And, oh, never mind. I thought I had the mail for it. But it gives the same thing as always. 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. And it's usable on PC mobile version only. Okay, well, let's keep hunting for that Nysha. We still don't have it. Hopefully we'll get it this stream. And if not, hopefully we get it this weekend. I'm still really surprised we haven't gotten it yet. So close yet so far. We only need 1, but we're on like a... How many days are we on now? 3 or 4 days? I haven't been grinding too much during that time. I think we've only grinded for about 6 to 8 hours or so total within that time. So still a relatively low amount. But still, we should have gotten it within that time. We're definitely getting plenty of Anus, if nothing else, but Anus aren't Nysha. We've crafted like, I believe like 2 whole medals, if not 3 whole medals of Anu in that time. Yet still haven't gotten that Nysha. Well, they have used the term God in the game. Mostly in Karkaroth, because all the mythics there are the old gods of the lore of their kingdom. I forget what the whole story was on that. But there's like some kind of whole premise about the old gods in the Karkaroth storyline. For a little bit of lore this game does have in the game itself that isn't external to the game. It is something that was mentioned. Actually, this game does have a lot of lore, like a ridiculously high amount. It's just a lot of that lore isn't in the game itself for a couple reasons. The main one being they have to translate, because of how many languages are in the game, any text they ever add to the game has to be translated to like, what, 6, 7 other languages or something? I forget how many there even are these days. And that's one of the biggest reasons why there isn't too much in the game itself. Just because it's really hard for them to get translation for all of it, and pretty pricey as well. But they do have a lot of lore, like, in the background. They even literally wrote, like, a whole book he just recently did, like, last year, or a year and a half ago, whenever it was. Surian, and basically writing, like, a little book of, I think it was, like, 20,000 words or something, of some lore for the game. But they have plenty more lore than just that. Oh, I'll go get that down for now. And you're dead. We'll get the Nysha eventually. Can't wait to finally have it so we can stop being so paranoid about tokens. I'm still going to be grinding them even after we get it, obviously. However, we'll finally have the max bonus in the game. We'll pretty much have max stats the second we get this Nysha, for the most part. The only real difference being that we don't have metal upgrades, but almost everyone in the game doesn't have medal upgrades. I don't think there's a single person in the entire game that has one full team of legends and mythics completely medaled. I'm pretty sure the number of people in the game is 0 as far as how many have that upgraded. Because you can't even pay your way to do that. The only way to do that is to grind, get lucky, and then grind more, while also simultaneously getting lucky. But there's like no way around that, and I'm pretty sure most people haven't grinded that long yet. Actually, there is one other method, get pure luck, but I'm pretty sure most people haven't been able to do the pure luck method. You feel like you plateaued in your account? Can you help direct me? Sure, what level are you? And what are you currently doing as far as kingdom upgrades? Because most of the game's progression, even if you're not directly focusing on them, is focused around getting your kingdoms upgraded. Like, everything you do basically ultimately works towards them. And they're one of the biggest points of progression within the game. Particularly earlier on in the game when getting kingdoms to 5-star and 10-star. Let's see. You've got all magic kingdoms to level 10. What should you aim for now? Level 10 attack kingdoms, Nysha medal, leveling classes, getting 900k. Well, some of that you can do simultaneously. One thing that you should probably be doing is, if you haven't gotten Titan to level 100, use Titan and get it passively to level 100 as you're doing it through battles, as it's really important to have a level 100 Titan. On top of that, you can go and farm gold to get the rest of your kingdoms upgraded while simultaneously exploring. So if you can take 12 explore, you can do that with Titan Mang if you don't have other options, or see what other options you might have that can actually kill it. But worst comes to worst, you could just run Mang with hopefully Queen Jezebel you might have, and just run a Mang Queen Jezebel to kill out level 12 explore, and just farm tokens off of those. And if you have better options, use those better options, but that's probably one of the cheaper things you can get away with. And if you don't have that, just run Mang with Skull Spam. That would also work, though it'd be a bit slower as well. But other than that, you definitely want to be focusing on getting level 10 all kingdoms. Level 10 all kingdoms and 5-star all kingdoms is extremely important progression through early game to late game. They're the most important things that you want to be targeting down as quickly as possible. Get all kingdoms to level 10 and then get all kingdoms to 5-star. My Switch account was almost able to complete that too. I believe it has every kingdom to level 10, and about half the kingdoms, or a little bit more than half, to 5-star. It is extremely important to do. Because that gives a good baseline of stats once you do that. Like what I just mentioned, 10-star all kingdoms and 5-star all kingdom, that gives you about 50% of the stats in the entire game. Because if we go look at all of our stats that we currently have as bonuses, a good majority of this is just from what I just mentioned. I forget the exact amount off the top of my head, but for example, I believe it is 12 magic, 18 attack, 26 armor, and like 26 HP, somewhere around there. So let's just say those numbers. I'm not sure if that's exact, but approximately 18, 12, 26, and 26 is just from getting... Oh, wait, never mind. With all the 10-star kingdoms, that might be a little bit lower than that. Let's just assume 20, 20, 10, and 16, let's say. Or let's just even say 12. 12, 10, 20, 20. Even if it was just that low. I forget the exact number, but somewhere's around there. It's 32 stats, so whatever... Or 34 stats, because there's 34 kingdoms, so... That would end up coming out to, yeah, 64 stats. Hold up. Why does it seem so low then if it's 64 stats? Because level 10, and then 5... Hold up. Oh yeah, I'm overcounting the thing. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, 34. Yeah, this should be 60-something, right? This should be over 60-something. Math, how do you work? Yeah. Okay, I was right. Anyways, but yeah, you get 64 stats from doing 5-star all kingdom and level 10 all kingdom. 34 of it is from level 10 all kingdom, and another 34 is from 5-star all kingdom. And that makes up a good majority of all the bonus you ever get just by doing that. And that's not too hard to do, getting 5-star All Kingdom and level 10 All Kingdom. It might take a little while. If you really grind it out like crazy, it can actually technically be done within a month, even if you just started an account. However, realistically, I think most players get it done over a couple months or even a year, depending on how much you play. But it can easily be aimed for within a few months, even if you don't play as much. I believe my Switch account was on track to get it done in a month and a half. And I got almost all the way there within the time that I did end up playing it. But it can be done within a month, and normally would take a few months to do that full process. But that gives about, I want to say 70% of the stats that you could get within the game. Anywhere from like 50 to 75% or so is just from doing 5-star All Kingdom and level 10 All Kingdom. And it's really, really easy to do in a relatively short amount of time. And to get 5-star kingdoms, what you need is 1 legend from the kingdom, which isn't too hard to get. I believe 7 troops triple traded, and 8 troops leveled to 15. And all those things are pretty easy to do, with the hardest thing being either, depending on the kingdom, either getting 7 things to 3 traits, or getting the legend. Those tend to be the 2 harder ones to do. The legend, because it's completely luck-based, unless you're going to soul forge it, which I wouldn't really advise doing. It's basically a bit luck-based in that regard, unless you have an event for it where you can throw event keys, which I do advise doing as you're progressing through 5 stars, is you can easily just get the legend off of event keys every single time. So, for example, this week is I actually forget what event week it is. Fail. This week is the event week for, let me double check. I actually completely forget now. Fail. Massive fail. This week is the event week, for example, for White Helm. So you could easily go and get White Helm to 5-star this week, since the legend of Celestacia and Moloch would be very easily accessible within event keys. You could probably get it within 50 or less. End up picking up a legend. It's what's the drop rate for a legend on this? It's 3.2%. So yeah, 50 would almost guarantee get it. Not absolutely guarantee, but pretty high chance. But yeah, you just basically do them one at a time if you want like the guarantee legend. Though you obviously get plenty of legends from opening keys randomly. So the consistency of doing that off of event keys is mostly just to make sure that you get them done one at a time. And it's what I feel like I did for my Switch account. Every single week I would go and get, already on Earth did we get a star for Drifting Sands. But every single week we would go and get one of them done. Like I remember we had like a Blackhawk event on Switch, and then we ended up having like a Dragon Claw event. So I did 5-star to Blackhawk, then 5-star to Dragon's Claw. Easily got our Dragon Soul and all that. And then the rest of them we just ended up getting through random keys for the most part. But you can consistently get some of those 5 stars just by throwing some event keys at it. Almost every single kingdom in the game can be 5-starred by throwing 50 event keys on its given week. Basically up until you get the legend. Because all the drops that you would have gotten throughout that, other than the trace stones that you might still need a little bit extra souls, you got pretty much everything you need to go and 5-star a kingdom, which will give a whole extra stat just for 5-starring it. And those definitely add up to be quite a lot of stats. Anyways, back to the Orskia grind. What's your opinion for fastest team overall? Trait stone farming, going across all kingdoms. So you mean switching kingdoms? Probably if you're looking for a cheaper option, you want to go for Orskia Shield into Rowan. What you build around that really depends on how you want to play it, but you would normally go Leprechaun and one other option. So you could either go Mirage Queen or something cheaper, or even just a second Leprechaun if you truly wanted to. But it's Orskia Shield. The base of the team is Orskia Shield, Rowan, Leprechaun, and one other troop. What that one other troop is depends on if you want to go use the event troop for the week, or a second Leprechaun, or Mirage Queen, or whatever else you want to synergize to make it work. But that's the basic premise of the team. And the whole thing that you do is you use Orskia Shield onto Rowan, you do it a couple times, then you kill. And you can just keep doing it that way to do a high-level Explore. And you can do the same general premise with low-level Explorer, except you just do Rowan with Leprechaun, and you do it more so like this. We were doing it quite a bit earlier. We were messing around with it some to go gain free XP to our hero class. But you'd run something more like this if you were doing low level. This is the lower level variant. Higher level variant uses Orskia Shield, of course. Technically, you could use the same for both if you really wanted to. But, you know, you'd have to do is just throw down Leprechaun, throw Rowan, boom, dead. and even lower on in the game, earlier on in the game, you'll end up getting a bunch of tokens of guard. And those tokens of guard give. Huh. The stream just tried to die on us. How? I think that's definitely service provider problem, though. But yeah, service provider, stop doing that. But stream is back. I should probably type that into chat. I'm not sure how much of what I just said got cut off, though. There we go. Anyways. But yeah, let me know if any of that got cut off. I don't think it did, but just in case. I think I explained most of what I need to explain, though. Let's see. Talking about deeds, which kingdoms have you already upgraded with them? Good question. Let's see. Stormheim, because Stormheim is coming out. Oh, so thanks for reminding me. I forgot to go upgrade this again. Because Stormheim is going to be the next faction. I believe it's next Friday, actually, isn't it? Next week's Friday? Yeah, I think it was next week's Friday. But yeah, that's right around the corner. So I'm getting Stormheim upgraded for that. Other things I have upgraded are Silverglade. Silverglade is currently the best purple. There's 4 different purples. I personally feel like Silverglade's the best way to go for at the current moment in time. Other than that, Pan's Veil I put a little bit into. I think I ended up going to a different yellow, though, for going all the way. Other than that, I put a little bit into Merlantis. However, Stormheim is the better one. I just did that prior to us knowing that Stormheim was going to be getting a faction. But Merlantis isn't horrible, but I would put Stormheim as higher priority. Some ones I don't have any on that are decent, obviously, are things like Karkaroth, Blighted Lands, and Darkstone. All 3 of those are viable because they're purple, so they're definitely worth considering. Other than that, what other ones are there? Is that all I have upgraded? Oh, and obviously Zolkari to 15, and Mrs. Scales to 15. In the case of red for Mrs. Scales, you can either go Wild Plains or Mrs. Scales. I went Wild Plains for. I went Mrs. Scales first because it actually has a faction associated to it. One of which I don't have upgraded to 2,500 yet. So I definitely wanted to do that in order to go get 2,500 there eventually. And Zolkari is a Magic Kingdom, specifically Alpha Green. So that's definitely the first green you prioritize. Currently, there isn't really an excessively good green to go for after that. However, I just ended up going down that route. And I believe this was yellow over here. Yeah, I ended up doing all my yellow into Suncrest just because it was a better option, especially since it has a better faction to be associated to. Well, not really a better faction, but I ended up just doing it for the better bonus more so. The better faction is technically Warren's, but the better overall bonus that you get is from Suncrest between yellow options. And currently I have nothing upgraded with brown. However, I am leaning to doing Droxzoom because I believe Droxzoom does have the current best bonus of any brown. But the main reason I'm holding off on brown is currently no delves use brown. And given that we probably only are going to have enough to upgrade 1 delve anyways, I'm saving until we finally confirm 100% that a delve is coming for a brown kingdom. And then whatever brown kingdom does get that delve, I will be spending my brown deeds there. I believe we currently do not have one confirmed. I'll go double check real quick though. We'll probably have one next patch actually. We'll probably know when the first brown kingdom will have a faction, or the first brown kingdom will have a faction. That was correct. So we'll probably know that by next patch. So probably in about a week or 2 from now if we don't already know. But let me double check. I don't think we already know. But let me check the website. Kingdom spoilers. Let's see. We know what the next 3 factions are. Do we know what all 3 of them are associated to? Let's see. Forest of Thorns. Or sorry, no, that's not the right one. Wait, where's the thing? Stormheim? Urskea. Oh, never mind. We do know that it's Urskea. Never mind. Maybe we go upgrade Urskea then finally. Because actually we do confirm 100% know that Urskea is the next brown faction. Or I should say the first brown faction, because there's no brown faction for browns yet. But yes, Urskea will be the first brown faction. So we might want to consider upgrading it. So I'm not sure why. Our connection seems to keep going down a little bit this stream. Not sure what's up with it. It's being very weird. It hasn't done this ever. Not sure why it's assigned to today. Single thing is any different than it normally is. Okay, can we please get a Nysha already? That is not a Nysha. Come on, we're so close. We just need one more. We've been needing one more for, what, 4 or 5 days now. Also, Exorus. I forget if I mentioned it because the stream might have cut off at the time. But, the team that I mentioned earlier is the team that you run for 12. You run, if you don't have better options, you just run Urskea Shield, Rowan, Leprechaun, and one other option. Another option could be another Leprechaun, or whatever the event troop is, if it gains a benefit off of Glory. I mean, benefit off of Explore, I mean. And, or Mirage Queen, or whatever other support troop that you want to put in there. Where it just depends on what you have or what you want to use. But, hey, you can just run that. And you just Urskea Shield a few times onto Rowan, and then kill them all out with one shot. Or you can go a double shot method. It really just depends on which way you want to play it out, given on the battle. I think most people go for the one shot method. I personally don't use that team just because there are quicker methods for doing 12s. However, it is an option, and it's one of the cheapest options that can viably quickly win 12. Explore 12s, that is, when I say 12. Because it doesn't use any mythics. Actually, technically, it doesn't even use any legends if you don't use the Mirage Queen version of it. Absolute cheapest is probably Urskea Shield, Rowan, and double Leprechaun. Leprechaun is only ultra rare, plus it's already upgraded if you already have one of them upgraded, since all of your copies are upgraded then. Rowan you get for free from Forest of Thorns, and Urskea Shield is from 250 wins on Urskea hero class. Talking about delves, what faction team do you use for Hall of Guardian? Pure faction? You don't normally run double Silent Sentinel, double Gargoyle. Though I've been testing like almost every single variant for that kingdom to try to see if we can get something to break through. But from what I can tell, the best is still double Silent Sentinel, double Gargoyle. And the main reason for that is you definitely need the double Gargoyle to kill out the final room. Because you have to kill their Gargoyle before their Gargoyle kills you. I have still not been able to do it. I think Tuesdays from now, I think I'm finally just going to bite the bullet and just throw some gems at getting the event done. I really don't want to have to do it that way, but I think we're going to go do it that way. At least it'll be super easy once we get there. Because there's no way we're going to lose with Potion of Effects and 200 Delve. There's not a single way we'll lose that at that point. As I say that, we'll probably still find a way to lose it. But it'd be very, very unlikely, to say the least. Unfortunately, it will cost us like 2,000 gems to go do it, if not a little bit more. However, it'll finally be done, and that'll be one less 2,500 we need to get done. And if nothing else, we get a bunch of shards along the way. What's the new Seals cap for 4.7? I believe it was 2,000. Pretty sure it was 2,000, which is the equivalent of about 25 gem keys. Because it's the equivalent of 25 seal keys, essentially. It's going to be 500 seals, which is 25 seal keys, which is basically 25 gem keys, assuming you're all the way in late game. Or, you know, assuming that you have a 40,000 total for your guild, which is even easier starting next patch. As well as assuming you already have all the guardians. However, do keep in mind, more guardians are being added next patch. There's going to be 6 new guardians added. So you have to get all 12 of them. I believe the previous 6 were still staying at a drop table. But you would need to get all 12 of them upgraded to 4 copies of Mythic. I believe they are changing it, so individually, every single time one of them are 4 copies of Mythic, they will drop out of the drop table. So for example, when the drop table, or once the new Mythics come out, or the new Guardian troops, while all 12 of them will theoretically be in the drop table, every single time you get one of them to 4 copies of Mythic, they should drop from the drop table. I believe that's how it currently works next patch, if I am not mistaken. I'm not 100% on that, but last I recall, that is how it's supposed to work. I know, she really should lead with that more. That's actually a really, really big buff that they're doing next patch that we didn't have as public knowledge until recently, so I can actually start mentioning it now more commonly. But it's a really, really nice feature that's coming in next patch. It's quite a substantial increase to loot per week. Even though they're technically nerfing guild tasks, they're essentially giving late game players an additional 25 gem keys a week. Assuming you're active enough to get it. However, most people, you'll easily hit 1,500 seals per week, let alone being able to also just do up to 2,000. Like, if you're active enough to go get all guild tasks completed, you're probably active enough to go get 2,000 seals. So it's pretty much a free 25 gem keys a week. And if you're that late in the game, they're probably as effective as gem keys at that point as well. So even though they're technically nerfing tasks, they're it might not even matter because of the seal increase. Might effectively make it better. For the guilds that do a lot of gold, it would probably still be worse for them, like the really, really top 0.1% of guilds. But for most people overall, it's going to be an increase to the amount of loot you're getting, even though they're nerfing some specific aspects. It's something they really should be mentioning a lot more whenever someone tries bringing up like how bad the system is for the tasks, which still aren't optimal. But they could easily just say, hey, we're giving you 500 extra seals a week. And if they make the comparison to gem keys, it seems like a lot. Like, 500 extra seals doesn't seem like a lot, but when you phrase it as 25 gem keys, I don't know, I personally feel like it seems like a lot more when you phrase it like that. Because that's basically what their value is. What do we take here? We'll get a Scorpius. Grab our Leprechaun. And then we go for a Mountain. There we go. And he's dead. Please give us Nysha. We're gonna be here for like 2 weeks still trying to hunt this Nysha. It's gonna be New Year's and we're like, oh, we still don't have a Nysha for New Year's. Now we better have it by then, gosh. I hope to have it by this weekend. That was the goal of this weekend. Was ideally to have a Nysha by then. I wasn't expecting to not have a Nysha by this weekend. We definitely got plenty of Anus, that's for sure. But Anus do not help us get a Nysha. You spent more than 20k seals and no mythic. More than 1k gem keys and no mythic. And after a lot of gems spent, mythic. It can happen sometimes, unfortunately. We've gone really, really heavy into some mythics. This mythic wasn't too bad. I forget the exact key count. I think it took me 600 to 700 gem keys. Somewhere around there. The previous one got really lucky. It took us like 50 or 100 gem keys. But we have had mythics that have taken us thousands upon thousands of keys. It really just comes down to getting bad luck occasionally. Which definitely happens eventually. Yep, double Cedric. More badges. Not really that useful though. I shouldn't say they're not useful, but compared to a Nysha, they're not useful. Actually, what was the multiplier? I believe a Nysha is worth 81 times more value than a Cedric, token wise. It's gonna be weird when a troop is finally called Nysha. Because between a troop being called Cedric and a metal being called Cedric and a troop being called Nysha and a metal being called Nysha, that'd probably get really confusing. It's not as confusing with like stuff like Yasmin or Guard because there's multiple things named already, Yasmin and Guard. So when you refer to a token as just that, it's kind of more obvious that you're just referring to the token and not the troop. Or something like Cedric. Like, generally when you say his name Cedric, you could be referring to either or. Or no, I feel like it's that way anyways. Maybe other people don't perceive it that way. But if someone says Yasmin, I don't necessarily think of the troop, I think of the badge. But if someone says Cedric, I could think of the troop or the badge. Not necessarily the troop, or one or the other. Yeah, I haven't used my tokens for a while. We have a really big surplus, and the main reason I'm not using them is because I want to make sure I upgrade the new troops that are coming next patch before I do. The 6 new Guardian troops that are coming. And after we get those upgraded, we'll probably go and spend our other tokens as well. But I want to make sure I don't overspend my tokens now so that I have enough tokens for when we do the new commons next patch. But after we do those new commons next patch, I'll probably start spending a lot of the tokens that we've been accumulating over the last month or so. Because I haven't used any for about a month now. Haven't really been upgrading troops. Might even need to make a video for it when we do go and upgrade a bunch of stuff. Just kind of explaining it more. We've covered it on videos before, but, you know, it's always good to cover more on it. Because it is one that's, I wouldn't say necessarily confusing, but it's one of the more newer features that a lot of people might not know too much about currently. Especially since it does take a while to even token grind in the first place, so wasting those resources is not something you'd necessarily want to do. Since it takes so long to get more of it. Particularly the higher rarity ones. Okay, and it was mountain. Do another mountain. And he's dead. Can we get our Nysha here? Hopefully. Mythic down. Also, I am really surprised. I know I'm eventually going to jinx it, but I don't think we've been devoured a single time in the entirety that we've ever done Urskea. The Mythic has the capability of devouring, but I don't think he's ever been able to get one down. Not only does he obviously not normally get enough mana to do so, but even if he ends up getting a cast, he is yet to actually be able to devour us in this game mode. And hopefully we'll keep it that way. That'd be really annoying the day he finally does get a devour on us. It's possible if he's in first slot or something and gets really lucky off of mana. Or even in second spot if he gets lucky enough off of mana. Also, I'm like both hot and cold at the same time right now. Like my lower body's cold, but my upper body's hot. It's really weird. I guess that makes sense because heat rises, but it's also because I had the jacket thing on. A jacket thing. It's called a robe. It's a really cozy robe. Actually, it reminds me a lot of those covers that I have. I have like those really fluffy covers. It's something I always wanted but never really had. That I finally bothered to get like the last few years. But those like really fluffy covers. They're so comfortable. Just rest in. I'll do grab here. Get a Scorpius on it. And he's dead off of Scorpius. If we just move that over. Is this the one? Actually, we still have 2 battles left. Not yet. Oh, I should have grabbed that extra turn. Why didn't I? I saw that there too. Okay, good. We got off a cascade. It's always so annoying when you have to take a billion turns to get a single extra turn. Just to get them poisoned. Still quicker than using Web Spinner though. Because it's very rare where you get that unlucky. But it can happen, of course. Same thing could technically happen with Web Spinner where you get unlucky and not be able to get its mana. Main reason for using this is you can 0 turn it, since the extra turn doesn't waste any amount of time, in a sense that no turns are going by. Obviously sometimes you get to waste time in that you need to get the extra turn, but you know. The actual extra turn itself does 0 downtime. Nope, no Nysha. Maybe we farmed all the Nyshas that our Skia has. They keep seeing us coming around, and they're just hiding all their Nyshas now. Because they know we're trying to raid them. I hope this doesn't become our new longest streak that we ever go without a Nysha. It's getting there. If we go another week without a Nysha somehow, it'll be the longest I've ever gone without one. And what's really annoying is we only need 1. What's even more annoying is next patch might not necessarily have guarantee Nysha. So even next patch might not be able to save us in that regard. They really need to add that back, though. I have no clue why they removed Nysha and Anu from Yellow Tree. That was like 99% of the value of Yellow Tree, and then they removed it for next patch. Hopefully they put it back in, though. Oh, we got a gnome as well. I've been getting decently good luck on them recently. Most recent one was a glory for 1,000 glory. Or I mean a glory gnome with 1,000 glory. That's definitely not too bad. Or actually that's the best thing we can even get off a gnome. Other than a vault key. Though in some instances it's even more value than a vault key. Because at least it's guaranteed value, whereas vault key could theoretically be better value, but it's not consistently going to be better value. Hello, Heatwind! Welcome! Well, glad you could catch us in the morning. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird time for some time zones. It's probably easier to catch on Saturday compared to Friday, since some people might be working Friday mornings. But glad you could join us. Yeah, we're currently just trying to get this final Nysha. It's been very elusive. We were messing with the Mythic a little bit earlier in the stream, but still trying to get this Nysha. We are 1 away from having 3 badges of Nysha. Unfortunately, we cannot find this last one. We've been grinding for... Oh no, we just actually failed this battle. It's been a while since we actually failed. Well then. Oh no! That was the final battle too. Whoops, mistakes were made. I hate when that happens. I wish they would remind you at the beginning of the battle rather than at the transition. Because they added to kind of remind people that it is a more important battle. However, they remind it at such a weird location that you just spam through it anyways. Without ever actually paying attention to the warning thing. That's a really unfortunate one to fail on. You upgraded Gob Truffle, but there is no upgrade indicator by your mana ball. What do you mean by that? Not sure what you mean. Did you ascend it, or what did you do to it? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Also, restarting the game might fix it, if it's just a visual glitch. I was like 5 a.m. for you. Oh, no wonder why. Yeah, that would be a little hard then. Oh, it's Sunday for you. Oh, so you're like all the way in Australia or something then. Because I'm pretty sure that's towards like Australia, Japan kind of time zone area. Oh, I'll take that over. Still no extra turns. Luckily, one's just sitting right there for us. Oh, New Zealand. Yeah, similar. Yep, that's pretty much right over there. I always keep forgetting New Zealand's even over there. Isn't New Zealand... I forget geography that well. Isn't New Zealand to the bottom right of Australia, but a lot of maps tend to forget to put it on? I actually have a map right now that I'm using for my TV... Or not my TV, but for my mouse and computer and everything that goes across my entire table. And has the full map of the world. And to the bottom right of Australia, there's nothing. They forgot to put New Zealand or whatever's there. I believe it's New Zealand, right? That's where New Zealand is? I'm not going crazy. I know this map doesn't have it. But I'm pretty sure that's where it's located. It's kind of weird that a lot of maps tend to exclude that country for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. There's Australia and then nothing else there. It's very strange. Oh, to grab there. We could take a purple for now. Grab ourselves a... I'm not even sure what I want. I guess we take green and just explode the whole board. Oh, shouldn't have given him an extra turn skull though. But oh well. And he's dead. Yeah, I had an ad campaign with our Prime Minister and a comedian about that. Get New Zealand on the map, basically. Oh yeah, I did hear something about that a while back. Well, not that long a while ago. I think it was like a year or two ago. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm not sure why maps always forget it. But I don't think I own a single map that has New Zealand on it. Like, I know it's there. I just... Maps apparently don't. Oh, what do we grab? Take that over. Get a Scorpius down. Oh, we better not get a summon. Hopefully we got lucky enough to stop it. Let's see. Let's get a Mountain Crusher. Please get extra turn. Perfect. And no summon for you. Okay, can we get our Nysha, please? We just need one. And then we could stop for a while of ever having to grind it. I think if we could focus a little bit more on PvP, though. Oh no, we might just go stick with Explore still. Well, we won't have an obligation to have to do it as much as we currently do. We'd still need to do Explore a lot. But, it would just be to upgrade troops, not for global bonus. Global bonus is the more important one. Since that can apply to absolutely anything, even things we don't have upgraded. Whereas the actual upgrades to troops only specifically help, of course, that one troop that we upgrade. And nothing else. Nope. Oh, gosh. It's going to be forever till we get that Nysha. He just does not want to drop. Maybe New Zealand should start calling itself Australia. Because people never forget that island over there. I'll go for another mountain. Oh, we don't have an extra turn here, so let's go for that. Luckily we get off a cascade. Don't call New Zealand Australia. It's basically a mini Australia though. Oh, to grab. Take a explosion. No. I've never been there, so I actually wouldn't really know for sure. Actually, I haven't been anywhere outside the United States other than Canada. We don't have the deadly things. Oh, that's nice. But you also don't have the fun things. I don't think you guys have kangaroos, though, do you? Gosh, why does that keep doing that thing? I'll say, hello, Wygomora. Oh no, did someone leave us a dislike? Gasp. Oh well, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, definitely feel free to like the video then. To outdo the dislike on it. Actually, technically dislikes actually help us too. So joke's on them. Because dislikes still count as engagement. It's actually worse to do nothing than to leave a dislike. Though don't leave a dislike. Preferably leave a like if you're going to do that. But technically it's better than doing nothing. Which is quite ironic. We'll go through that down. Oh, we'll go get our explosion. No blue orbs? You got over 3 weeks? Yep, that can happen. We're on a really big green-orange streak right now. I'm currently like a week or a week and a half with just pure green and orange. No purples, no blues. But yeah, blues drop rate, I believe, is around 15% or something. So it is possible to go weeks without one. Especially on weeks where you're only getting a few orbs. Because at 15% drop rate, you're, what is that, like 6 orbs or so? Yeah, you'd have to get 7 orbs. 7 orbs would be on drop rate. So, yeah, it is possible to go like literally an entire month with 0 blues. Just because about 1 in every 7 orbs will be a blue, approximately. And you only get so many per week. And of course, you could just get unlucky for a long period of time. Is there no team where you can grind metals and random trade stones fast? Or is it 2 separate grinds? They're mostly 2 separate grinds. Because the quick kill is only available on the lower level range. And the better metals like Anus and Nyshas and Arachnias are only available at the higher level range. The higher level range can still win somewhat quick though. Like we're not winning slow right now. We're not winning as quick as we could if we were doing lower level, obviously. Like that, we could just one-shot instantly. But, yeah, you can't really do both simultaneously. Like this right now is the quickest that you can do that does both simultaneously. Because we're winning about once every 30 seconds or so, while also doing the higher level. However, you can win in like 15 seconds if you go do the lower level range, which is like double the speed. Except you'd be getting less gold, and you would not be getting any of the higher rarity metals. I think the highest you can even get, say, Arachnia from doing that at the lower level range, if even that. But yeah, 12, you pretty much can only get, Nysha you can only get on 10, 11, and 12. And 12 has the highest drop rate for it, of course, so just do 12. Plus you get more shards that way anyways. But I normally run Rowain for the lower level range and this for the higher level range. Though you can also run other instant kill teams like Iron Gut, Zhuge, stuff like that. Depending on what kingdom you're doing or if you're following 20%. You can also run Magnitude, Queen Isabel, though that's a little bit slower, but it's really cheap if you don't have other options for higher level range. I won't win as quick as this team, but it's it would still win. But yeah, there's nothing that can simultaneously get max win rate while getting max tokens. It's just not a possible combination. You have to go one or the other. You can still get tokens while getting max win rate, or the quickest win rate. And you can also get a decently quick win rate while doing the best tokens. But there's no point where you can do both simultaneously currently within the game. And I highly doubt there ever be one where you can do both as optimally as possible simultaneously. Because the lower level range can win within... We would already won. All we have to do is Leprechaun cast one. Whereas you can't do that for this game mode. You can get similarly quick. This isn't anything that goes all one shot. There's nothing that can 4 times one shot an enemy like that with that high stats. And if there ever was, that'd be such an overpowered troop. Which will likely never exist. Zhuge can somewhat double kill though, in that regard. Because it gets one guarantee kill and the skulls can sometimes clean up the other. And obviously, what's his name can do the same. Get a double kill per cast. Pretty consistently. The Scorpius, that is. Okay, I think this is going to be our final chest for now. As far as our grind is concerned. Hopefully we'll get it tonight if we don't get it right now. And if not tonight, then definitely hopefully tomorrow, because gosh, we are getting unlucky. Such a very, very long streak without one. Not as long as one of our times, but I believe we're about a 4 or 5 day streak with 0 Nysha. Because what we got it on what, Tuesday? I believe it was Tuesday when we got the second to last Nysha. Let's see. What do you think the Dark King will appear in the Forge? Dark King. Which one are you referring to by Dark King? Do you mean that new undead troop? Wait, was he called Dark King? I thought he had a different name than that. What troop are you referring to? Was he called Dark King and I'm just completely forgetting? That's a gigantic fail, so... let's see, we'll go for that. Grab our other explosion. Also, currently the purple one. What do you mean the purple one? Okay, I need to go look that up. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Let me get double check what you're referring to. Dark King. Why do I completely forget what this thing is? What is it? Oh, he means Grey King. Oh, okay. That's what I thought he meant. Yeah, Grey King is, yeah, so you were referring to the Golvania one then. My bad. That's why I didn't recall it. Yeah, Grey King. Okay, so the Undead Troop. That could be any time from next week to about 2.5 weeks from now. We have no official date. We just know it's within that time frame. We know what's not in the drop table. We just don't know when that will specifically be in the drop table, but we know it'll be within that frame, within that current rotation. But yeah, anywhere from 1 to about 11 weeks from now will be the Grey King being in Soulforge. I know, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there wasn't anything called Dark King, but yeah, saying Grey King, definitely, that one I know. That's definitely a troop. It just threw me off because I thought Dark King was something else that I just forgot about. Raising seals to 2k will help guilds hit 40k, yes. While it's not really mentioned, they basically added 2 things that makes it so you don't need a full guild next patch. They're adding 27 out of 30 for Guild Wars. They finally added that. That was something we wanted them to add for years, and they finally got around to it. Better late than never. But they're finally adding the capability to have Guild Wars only count the 27 highest in your guild. So that means you can recruit during a Guild War week, and you don't need to worry about having a full 30 guild. And if someone just randomly leaves, it won't really penalize you for Guild Wars. So that's going to be great. Probably almost one of the best features that's even happening next patch. But also, one other thing that they did that also allows you to have smaller guilds in a way is they made it so the cap for 40k to get the better chests, I believe, is still the same next patch. However, they ended up making it so you can now get up to a 2k cap per week. So that means it is now going to be way easier, since you technically only need 20 people to do the full thing in order to get it. I believe the other reason why they did this is because for whatever reason, they don't make seals automatic, and I don't believe they're doing that next patch either. However, since seals aren't automatic, sometimes people forget to go and claim it. So even people that could potentially have 500 seals already completed, they forget to go and claim their seals. So that's another thing that will actually be able to do. In them increasing it, it'll make it so if people forget to go and claim their seals, you'll still easily be able to get it without spending purple orbs. So yeah, it's going to be a really nice addition, the increase to the amount of seals, for sure. Yeah, mid-game or early game still a lot of fun. Honestly, mid-game is probably the most fun section of this game, because you're still in a section where you're kind of discovering a lot of things and messing around with teams that you probably would never actually use in any other point in the game. But you get to have a lot of fun with it, since there's a lot of interesting team building that you can do with the limited amount of things that you have. And there's a lot more progression that occurs during that section of the game as well. Also, did this stream just randomly die on us again? Come back, stream! Why does it keep wanting to do that this stream? It's so strange. Okay, I think it came back now. But yeah, mid-game has some of the best content, honestly, for the entire game. The mid-game kind of progression. Because it feels like you're getting the most done and have the most creativity for teams and probably the most fun in mid-game. Not that the rest of the game is boring, but I feel like mid-game, if they could somehow find a way to extend that to the rest of the game, would be amazing. Okay, then let's go throw the Scorpius down. Yeah, I would love to see them expand the mid-game concept to the entirety of the game. Would be a lot of fun. There isn't really a way to do that, though, properly. Yeah, I'm not sure what on earth is happening with the connection today. It's been so good this entire time, yet today it's been very, very weird. I'll look into it, but I'm not sure if there's anything I can change on my end that would actually help at all. Because that's kind of happening out of nowhere. Pretty sure it's just a service provider issue today. That's beyond my control. Why would such great changes make people ask if 4.7 will kill Gems of War? Probably because most people don't know about the other changes. Because most people only know about the guild changes, or the task changes, which honestly I would say is towards the not so good end, the way that they're going about it. I still feel like they could change it some to make it a bit better. But everything else they're doing next patch is pretty nice for the most part. Some of the things I still can't mention yet because it's not public knowledge. But starting Monday, we'll probably know a good majority of it after they do the spoiler stream this Monday. And the only reason I was able to mention that other stuff is it's already public knowledge. But yeah, next patch overall isn't bad by any means. It's definitely healthy for the game. It's probably negatively overall going to have a slight negative effect on like the super ultra excessive active people in the game, just because of the slight guild war rework. But it's only going to very heavily affect like probably 1% of the player base, if even that much. A good majority of players, it would just benefit completely next patch. And the only reason they're even toning back some of the late game stuff, like the ultra end game kind of stuff, is mostly to make it a little bit more balanced for the rest of the game. But overall, it's actually looking to be a pretty decent patch. Probably not the best patch all year. I'd probably have to say the best patch all year would be... actually, I don't know. That's kind of a toss-up. I I honestly would probably say the metal patch, just because I love having something to grind, personally. Though I'm pretty sure some people absolutely hated the fact that they added metals and all this extra grind. But I don't know, it gives us something to do in late game, if nothing else. I wish they would have had more areas to do it, rather than just explore. Maybe some kind of new game mode that would be fun or something. But, I still love having something to end up having to achieve later in the game, because we've been lacking that for a while in late game. We kind of just went around getting all the newer stuff and just kind of going from there. But the addition of this actually made it so we had something to actually try seeking out that we could actually improve our troops with and actually gain a benefit in game, which is nice. Did Salty post a preview pic? No, not today. I checked it at the beginning of the stream. There wasn't any. Unless she posted it during the duration of the stream. They did not post any additional spoilers, unfortunately. Probably because they're doing the whole spoiler on Monday. So in 2 days from now, they're going to be spoiling literally the entirety of the patch. They'll be streaming it in 2 days and 6.5 hours from now. On Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when they're going to be streaming it. And they're going to be going over the entirety of 4.7. Hopefully they'll mention everything. Whatever they mention, I'll be able to mention on stream on Tuesday. Who knows? Maybe the patch will even be out by then. Hopefully. There's a good chance patch does come out next week. No official date, though. Though we might get an official date on Monday, possibly. But anyways, guys, I'm going to be heading out for now. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Also, if I hope you all get better luck than I do. Gosh, we're going to go so long without this Nysha, apparently. But, yeah, best of luck if you're going to try for the Mythic. It's still available. Excuse me. It's still available for another 6 days or so, or 5.5. So definitely make sure, if you're still looking for it, go and open some Glory Gym Guild or VIP chests. I definitely highly advise getting the new Mythic. It's really, really decent, particularly Guild War option. A little bit towards the slower side, but I would say it's a great utility troop, to a point where it's a utility troop that you likely want to own, just because of its usefulness for Guild Wars and Tower of Doom, are its two biggest purposes, even though we've been messing around in PvP with it. But anyways, guys, have a wonderful weekend. I'll catch you all soon. We'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 5 hours from now, continuing our grind a little bit, and hopefully finally getting a Nysha. But anyways, thanks for stopping by, everyone. Leave a like if you enjoyed the stream, and we'll be back soon. Goodbye, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.